little break first, but I don't know.
For more people to show up.
Well, I invited some people, but we are live now, and I was thinking of just me and brother, but Vicky mentioned that she could come in, so if DA was on or something.
What did
be awesome. He's at work, I think, probably. I don't know. I'm guessing.
People still work. Why do they do that?
Soul crushing 4 hours of my life.
Of my life. You know what? If I zoom this in, if I fucking hit Control Plus.
What did Kay say?
She said she was going to go do something, so she couldn't come in. Right. Let's see. Does this zoom in on the whole? Oh, it does. It shows a little more of the thing.
Nice.
So here, okay. I'm cross streaming to DLive just to see what happens. Might fuck up our bandwidth, but I don't think it's really going to because StreamYard never hooks up with the bandwidth. One thing I noticed about StreamYard since coming back is they added some nice new features. For example, it lets you stream a specific tab from Brave. Just like you don't have to stream just the window or just your entire monitor or just a program. It'll just let you stream a specific tab, so you can go look at other shit in Brave, which is pretty cool. Although on DLive, it's not going to do that. Specific tab, so you can go look at other shit.
I can hear the audio.
I was
not
talking.
Me.
What? Okay. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. The thing is that what happened is Liam last night. Again, Vicky was mentioning this. Liam had a fucking meltdown last night where he just lost his fucking shit.
Lost his damn mind.
Liam lost his damn mind in the West. So I saw people were linking it to me, and I was like, okay, well, I hope somebody mirrors it because he's going to try and hide it. He's going to try and cover it up.
He does it with a lot of his videos. He'll just basically lock them down.
By the way, if anyone, I think Nasser's still live. If anyone wants to go into Nasser's chat and go mention that we're doing it,
let him know we're stealing his thunder.
Let him stream snipe even because we're actually fine with that. Usually, anyone else attempts to stream snipe us, they have to turn it off at some point. But I think Nasser wouldn't do that, which is okay. That's okay.
It's okay, I guess.
Oh, hey, Tony.
Oh, hey, Vicky.
You always come in so quiet.
Yeah, that's his habit of mine.
Probably going to be like sitting and just, which is fine. I don't care.
If I think of something interesting to say, I'll try and interrupt.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, that's you got
to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, you got to crowbar your way in. But what happened was Liam Gray did a review in gigantic, a million sneer quotes of Kamen America 2, in which apparently he just repeats what we said about his comic, about what we said about Xenotype, which triggered him so bad that he false flagged our entire channel and
started getting the headaches.
Yeah, he started
as he called them.
Yeah, he was, as he called it, he was getting the headaches. So he went in and attempted to review, but the thing is that I forget who that was.
Wait, why was he? Well, that's really suspicious timing. Why did he just review it then? And in particular, why did he review it by just looking at the store page for, I think, the Indiegogo? He didn't actually review the comic.
Yeah, he just reviewed the campaign page. He never read the comic. You can tell he didn't read the comic, and he didn't have access to the comic. What is he, poor or something? He can't even afford to keep dogs alive.
I think it was because it was the most prominent anti-Comicsgate campaign.
But basically, it's like Comicsgate, of course.
Yeah, I know. But
even other people in Comicsgate don't know, like they're not aware. Some of them think that Tim and Mark are Comicsgate, and then some of them insist that Tim and Mark are anti-Comicsgate, and they're neither. It's
Well, Liam comes from the mindset where you're either Comicsgate or anti-Comicsgate, and now you're either Comicsgate, anti-Comicsgate, or Liam.
Or
because
anti-Liam.
Liam will not call himself anti-Comicsgate. He's not anti-Comicsgate because
Wait, that's exactly what we already have been doing.
right, because all of us over on this not Comicsgate side of the aisle, which I call us not Comicsgate, because we're all a bunch of shitty people, and he doesn't want to be associated with us because we're awful criminals,
except for stealing our content.
Because we are criminals. I am actually engaged in blackmail, extortion.
You robbed that bank. And then you killed everybody you did the bank robbery with, so that there was only one share.
Yeah. And I'm a member of a criminal conspiracy. So in Liam's mind, Tim Lim is anti-Comicsgate. He is antithetical to everything Comicsgate stands for.
That's not just Liam's ideation, though. He got that from
Ethan.
Specifically,
Ethan got that from him.
So that is why I think that is, if I delve into Liam's psychology, I think that's why he chose. No, isn't that a dark, scary, fucking twisted place? It's like
it's all gummed up.
Yeah, it looks like the Alice in Wonderland ride at Disneyland.
It's all sticky.
Yeah. But I think that's why he chose it, because it's the most prominent non-CG campaign he could think of. It was on the front page of Indiegogo. Because
it's displaying massive growth, independent from,
which is why it's on the front page of Indiegogo, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it too?
What's his comic? I don't think his comic was never on the front page of Indiegogo. Why?
According to Stupendous, if you type, because I just saw it in Nasser's chat, if you type in Comicsgate in the search in Indiegogo, Preston's book actually comes up, is ranked higher than Liam's.
Oh, so man, that's got to be embarrassing.
I just thought, after all of this, Tim and Mark made.
You know what? Xenotype, actually, if you type search for Comicsgate, if you're watching on D Live, you'll be able to see this. If you're watching this on YouTube, I guess you're missing out. But let's see, Vestige, which is that even out? Vestige 2, that's not out yet.
It is not. They have not released it. It was due last month.
Limited edition variant cover. Oh, that's for White Widow #5. Oh yeah, that is fucking and Divinity Factory. Yeah, that is the second thing is fucking Preston's comics.
Yep.
Congratulations, Preston, on being the #1 Comicsgate.
Well, it's $200 so far. But it's 29 days left, so it might have just started yesterday. The third place actually is Xenotype, and looks like a bunch of.
He's in basically, or as you should say, last place.
Yeah,
he's in last place.
Vestige 1. That's still
backers keep trickling in on Xenotype. Now I'm not sure, based on how his chat acts during his live streams.
They chimp out.
Oh, do they ever? I would not be surprised if most of the backers that trickle in are just repeat backers from his chat.
Well, granted that after all, one person did donate over 10 times to Xenotype once, and that person was Ethan Van Sciver, who was actually in the chat.
Yeah.
He was in the chat for this stream. So what happened was, last night, the stream, which apparently you watched it, people were messaging me about it, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this crap because, Liam Gray. I've tried watching some of Liam Gray's, there's a crazy stream with Liam Gray, and people will clip it, and it's like, that's funny stuff. And I've actually run out of stuff to watch recently because I've been spending the past few months just binging a bunch of fucking podcasts until I ran out. So I tried watching listening to Liam Gray's things while playing video games, and it's just a lot of people sitting around giving these really warmed over 2013 takes about SJWs, and it's like, this is fucking and it's from fucking a few days ago, and it's like, holy shit, these people just have nothing to say.
November 2020 for anyone who's not looking at the current
What fucking like a lot of what we've been noticing, and other people have been also noticing and pointing out, is that pretty much all they have to say is just a repeat of stuff we've said. In fact, this case, Liam Gray specifically is reviewing Kamen America 2 a couple of days after we fucking did a comeback and reviewed Kamen America 2 as well. But the thing is, he doesn't have the comic to review in front of him. It doesn't have anything to say about
we did, and we do. Our review actually was a review of the comic.
Yeah, it was an actual critical analysis of the comic. In fact, to the point where, like, it wasn't just glowing praise. Like, that's another thing that Comicsgate fails at, is that they are not capable of reviewing a comic. They're only capable of complaining about it or just fawning over it without actually explaining why it's either good or bad.
Marking out.
Yeah, but they don't even have like a positive thing to say about it. But one of the things that people have also noticed recently is that if they have an actual criticism of anything, it never applies to what they're talking about, but it does apply to what we said about their own comics, which is why my brother pointed out that just a little bit of the stream he heard was Liam Gray literally parroting what we said about Xenotype, but he was just repeating it about.
It was basically, it was the only thing to notice. This was from me listening to Nasser's stream while Nasser was stream sniping, or I don't know what you.
No, he was just playing the stream because the stream was from last night. Nasser's streaming right now, but you were listening to it like an hour ago.
It was specifically the one that's uploaded to the Comicsgate Watcher.
Which I've been subscribed to this for a few months now, and in fact, I was subscribed to it before they even had 20 subscribers. Now they got 25, and it's only on Bitshoot, of course, because Bitshoot doesn't fucking throw a spark fit about people false flagging. If people false flag you on Bitshoot just basically ignores it. It's like, oh, that's a shame. Now, go check out this video about fucking how the Holocaust didn't happen.
The Holocaust didn't happen, but it should, and we're going to make it happen like it never did again.
Never happened, and I hope it happens again. Part 10, the Holocausting, available now on Bitshoot.
The Holocauster.
The Holocausters, yeah, that kind of goofy shit.
Yeah.
But and Bitshoot, one thing I found out about Bitshoot is, I guess this won't apply to anyone else, but if you try to upload a video on Bitshoot while you're on Steam Link, it won't fucking process. I have no idea how that's even possible, but I guess that's a problem more for Steam Link than anything. But it's also annoying because one of the things I like to do when I'm trying to mirror shit onto Bitshoot, which the entire old channel is still technically mirrored on Bitshoot, but one thing is I'm trying to do when I upload a video is I like to just go on the Steam Link and just relax in front of the giant ass fuck big screen and maybe play some vidya, and apparently that just prevents videos from uploading properly on Bitshoot. So one of the many problems Bitshoot also has, along with how it requires a fucking thumbnail. It requires you to upload the thumbnail yourself. It's like fucking YouTube doesn't do that shit. And then it takes longer to fucking upload. It takes longer to process. And Bitshoot, of course, is getting hammered like a motherfucker lately because of all the new traffic, because YouTube is...
As much as Bitshoot sucks, the one saving grace of Bitshoot is just always going to be the fact that YouTube is a nightmare.
The fact that it's not YouTube, that's pretty much the benefit. So, you were talking about how last night, Vicky, you were talking about last night, how about you were actually watching this. So at least one of us here actually saw this stream of Liam Gray basically just whining about Kamen America 2 and getting everything wrong, and the chat started just fucking savaging
even
him.
His actual, like, the only things you could even say were actual complaints of his, which were all faulty and weak, was just that it's like, oh, it's a failure. It's a $10,000 failure. It only made $10,000, but he ended up being wrong.
It's overly political, alt-right nonsense.
Oh yeah, that's
I was watching the
with a
stream too,
stupid
and
message, and I'm like, no, there's like nothing political. The only thing even almost political about it is her name and the fact that the main baddie is Russian. Like that's it. You've
So
got
I think her new partner is the Russian.
yeah.
The main baddie is I don't know. We
She
still
might be
don't
Russian
know.
too,
Her
but
sister.
they're
It was her
related
sister.
to
in there.
Russians.
The real villain in Kamen America 2 right now, the real villain is a guy who's trying to basically shill for his stupid. It's like a movement that's just he's using to make money. He's
It's
trying
an
to
EPS cipher
scam.
in a way.
Yes, that's
And
exactly
people don't want female superheroes. He actually said this on his stream because he was still after this. He streamed for another 6 hours, and I woke up this morning and he was still streaming. And
oh yeah, that's right.
He said
did a retry stream.
Women don't. Nobody likes female superheroes because it's like being saved by your mom.
What?
Wow, he's got some serious issues.
And I'm like,
oh, he's definitely got some mommy issues, maybe some grandma issues.
That's another thing we discovered. Did we even put that in the? I don't think we put that in our review because we didn't mention him. Because who cares? But now we can mention it. Apparently, we found out once and for all that it wasn't his mom that he beat up. It was his grandma.
Yeah, and he says he didn't beat her up. But the thing is, he also said that the police record with the AVO wasn't him and didn't exist, which
in the first place. Yeah,
he admitted it was him.
He also said a cure for parvo.
He started spurging on stream. This was actually like his second stream yesterday. Well, what I would call yesterday for him is the same day. And the first stream was a shit show that he privated right away.
Yeah, wait, let's see. Liam Gray, let's try this again. It says, is this the one that's the latest one on Comicsgate Watcher Secrets?
I think that was like the one after this Kamen America spurg. Like he ended up doing like 4 different streams just last night our time.
That's really what they call cope, isn't it?
It was
maximum over cope.
When he privated,
he's snorting cope.
Yeah, 2 of them privated right away, and then 2 of them stayed up because he spurged apparently again. I mean, I think Dean tweeting out that screenshot from the War Campaign Discord about how it was him that had to go to court over grandma just set him off. I think that broke something inside Liam, and he streamed probably for 12 or 13 hours.
Which is weird because isn't that the truth? I mean, like, what's to spurg about if it's actually true and supposedly exonerates him? Because most likely the problem is that it's still not totally true.
Right.
But also him admitting that the stuff he said wasn't real actually was real.
Yeah. It's
13 hours of streaming. Like, not even some of the most dedicated gamer streamers go for that long.
Well, he quote has nothing to do until his book comes back from the printer.
Yeah, which he's also trying to claim that the book's being shrink wrapped right now, and it's not.
He said that they were supposed to have been sent last week or something. I think he said.
Mm-hmm. So this is a typical tactic for Comicsgate. Typical Comicsgate scam.
Each
it's
book
just
is
always
individual. Each book will be individually shrink wrapped. I'm like, and I found out he apparently he's prioritizing his shipping, right? So he has 3 different tiers, I think: platinum, gold, and silver. It's stupid. Anyway,
shedding a lot of
So the platinum tier is going to be delivered first, then the gold tier, then the silver tier. But they're all going on the same fucking boat.
But
now,
they're
all leaving. They're all leaving. No, this is the Well, those are the two on Media Bang. This is a different one, but it probably still sucks.
Testify in the chat says the xenotype is still being colored. So
yeah.
So wait, it's being
but
shrink
those were
wrapped,
the
but
tier.
it's
You
also
were saying though
being
those were the
colored.
different tiers. Was one is the black and white tier and one's the colored tier or some shit.
Yeah, and then another tier. So
Sounds like
they're all going to be shipped out.
Terrible idea for your first comic release.
Because he got he has some sort of special arrangement to get cheap shipping overseas, quote unquote.
Oh yeah, he keeps talking about that, but then he also keeps saying that he can't say anything about how he did it or something.
Right.
Yeah,
but he'll tell other people if they ask him privately. But they're all going to be, all the boxes are going to be shipped at the exact same time. And I'm like, then how the fuck
they don't even do that with Kamen America, which was more popular.
Yeah, but they're somehow going to be shipped in big boxes to the United States and then shipped outside of the big boxes. I don't know. It just sounds so confusing and stupid that I can't.
Confusing. You just assume he's lying.
Well, yeah, that too.
Becomes a lot easier when you just realize, oh yeah, he's lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was, so that was the thing, is that last night was his stream where he's trying to cope about how Kamen America, and the question is, did he really not know that Kamen America was on Kickstarter, or was he just trying to not admit it because if he did, he'd have to admit that it was more popular than his comic.
Based on his reaction during the stream when he finally read the chat.
Yeah, I almost want to see that because.
I think he did not know.
Which is right here, by the way. For anyone who doesn't know, Bitshoot.com. It's this Comicsgate Watcher Secrets and Liam Gray, Sex versus Substance, Kamen America Volume 2, which he's trying to pretend is a review, but isn't, of course. But this guy backs up mainly Liam Gray streams. Because Liam Gray is currently the acceptable lol cow to laugh at. Well, and I know this guy, he's on our Discord, but it also in a way gives a lot of people a pass to pretend that this behavior wasn't already portrayed by other people in Comicsgate multiple times, of course, which, I mean, some people know that. Some people know that the stuff that they're laughing about at Liam is really stuff that was also happening with other people in Comicsgate, even some former or antis or whatever to some extent, to the extent that
like all of them, basically, it's like the industry standard for Comicsgate at this point.
There's also a couple things mentioned is on Twitter it got mentioned that Tim and Mark it was like brought to their attention that Liam had the big spurg out and that kind of that funny stuff, delightful funny stuff. Cheyenne said, if Liam Gray hates it, it's good. Speaking as a straight woman, I didn't buy it because of big boobs like Mr. Gray implies. I actually like the art and the stories. That was another thing. Basically, that's something we pointed out in our review, is that people were, it's one of the only comic books where people were actually talking about how they liked the story. And that's something you can't really get from it. Like, people don't even say that about Comicsgate's comics. Even the simps for Comicsgate don't say, oh yeah, Comicsgate comics have really good story. They don't say what's good about the story. They don't have any critical analysis or fucking or a cognitive analysis or fucking the capacity for independent thought to be able to say what's supposed to be good about Comicsgate comics. But you look at just average, ordinary backers and customers, and they're saying, oh, I loved this part of Kamen America 2. It has a really good story element right here. People are pointing to specific parts.
On the Twitter, people are like, hey, check out this part. They'll post a link or post an image
this
of the part they like.
If you're watching on DLive, you can see here, this panel specifically, when she goes to the church and the priest mentions the fortitude and humility are virtues that the talented learn far too late. Take it as a blessing that you're learning them this early, and that kind of stuff. It's a good scene. It really pays off, and it has actual
very right-wing
story elements.
Very alt-right It's so alt-right.
Yeah, that's one thing, is very alt-right. One other point before I go into what I really want to do is not just watch Liam stream, because that's boring, that's gay. But you can also do it yourself if you want. And I could, in fact, here I could fucking.
In fact, that's the thing. Also, we'll recommend that. Unlike him, he would never do that for our shows or streams.
That was something Comicsgate, including Ethan Van Sciver, were actually, like, people who knew them in real life said, yeah, Ethan Van Sciver is afraid to play your streams. And that's objectively true. It's verified by independent people. But yeah, Comicsgate was also always afraid to direct people to our channel or our streams, because they knew people would start listening to us.
And we're not
completely unafraid for even 1 second to say, here's fucking Liam Gray streams. You can go check them out. You can check out the fucking mirrors that other people put up to get away from him hiding his own streams. Feel free.
We got all the things we are doing for all of you.
Yeah, look at what we're doing for you, for your. In fact, here, wait, can I link this in our fucking chat if I hit? Okay, yeah, I linked the Bitshoot channel, the video specifically. One of the last things I want to point out, though, was I mentioned I have more than a suspicion that Liam Gray only reviewed Kamen America 2 because we did it just a few days earlier, as usual. Most of the people in Comicsgate are completely obsessed with us, follow us obsessively, and then not only parrot us, but start talking about. And that's again, that's not me accusing them. That's something other people have noticed or pointed out. That someone says, "Oh yeah, this person in Comicsgate saw this, so that they saw you guys do this, so they did something about that too." That's confirmed. That's objectively confirmed. So it's undeniable. But somebody mentions Rage, as in Liam, bought it to try and one-up you. Interesting. And I pointed out, Liam didn't buy it. He just reviewed it based on the Indiegogo campaign page, saying that the comic failed because it only made $10,000. The people in the chat threw the Kickstarter campaign in his face and mocked him until he shut down the stream.
But everybody was in that fucking chat.
Yeah, including Ethan.
Ethan was in the chat. Ro was in the chat.
And Ethan hates Tim Lim. They're like, he'll try and deny that now, of course, at this point. But it's been confirmed that Ethan Van Sciver has, like, behind the scenes too. Ethan Van Sciver has had like screaming meltdowns about how much he hates Tim Lim. Like, the people who know, the people who've been behind the scenes, the people who've seen it, know, and they've told me about it in person.
Yeah, as Dean pointed out, it was a moment that brought Comicsgate, quote, anti-Comicsgate together for a moment of peace, because it was literally like everybody in there was going after Liam, from Ro to Ethan.
What they're really going after is
what was left of War Campaign.
Most people don't know it, but they were actually going after Ethan Van Sciver. But it's Ethan Van Sciver's behavior segregated off into a different person that's more acceptable to laugh at. But the only reason why Liam Gray is like this because he got it from, specifically, he patterned his behavior. In fact, he admitted this, and Ethan
Ethan's behavior to a T.
He has.
Just even going right down to the point where he's stealing our verbiage to use for his own videos, like what we call Ethan mentally ill.
Liam
Gray started calling everything mentally ill.
That's not us accusing or supposing or theorizing or any of that shit. That's stuff that other people have said. Oh yeah, Ethan started repeating this thing that you guys said after you said it. So
or they would even not even
stuff
knowing.
That fans of his said.
They would
fans of Ethan Van Sciver actually
said
that.
This a lot. He's saying mental illness a lot. He's saying
after we
this
did
or that word a lot. He's really using it like a crutch. And it's like, oh yeah, that's something we called him. That's something we said about him.
Fans of Ethan Van Sciver's confirmed that he only started doing that after we did that, and that's proof. That's already been.
I mean, I don't need their confirmation. I already knew that.
Yeah, we
I hear him say it, and it's like, that's after we were the ones who said that first.
Yeah, and proved it. The thing is that we didn't just say it. So that's another difference that nobody else fucking is capable or smart enough to point out, is that we didn't say people are mentally ill. We proved it objectively with fucking facts.
Yeah, we got statistics. We got the evidence. We have the proof in our hands, and then we used it. We gave it to everyone. We proved it.
And the thing is that, notice, it's mostly people who have seen behind the curtain with Comicsgate who are like, oh man, you guys were completely right about it. It was other pros, other creators in Comicsgate or former Comicsgate who actually came to us behind the scenes and said, you guys were completely right about Ethan. You were completely right about Comicsgate. It's the proles, the little people, the inferior, the commoners who don't know what's going on behind the scenes in Comicsgate or, anything else, on YouTube or the internet, who are the only people who doubt us because they're not smart enough and they haven't seen what's going on. But, there's other people also who haven't even been behind the scenes, who also understand that we're right because they've just seen the behavior that's in public too. That's, completely undeniable. One other thing I mentioned was Riem was in Comicsgate anyway. None of those people are capable of critique, only complaint. Again, I was trying to remember, and I don't remember who, but it was somebody on YouTube who had nothing to do with any of this, or Comicsgate or Gamergate or anything, who mentioned that nerds are only capable of complaint and not critique, which means they're only capable of whining or saying, oh, I don't like this, it sucks.
They don't understand
why it's bad or why they don't like it.
They don't know how to examine something.
Yeah, they can't critically analyze something, and they can't, they don't have that sort of level of cognition to have an understanding even of why they don't like it, let alone why it would be bad or even good.
One example I can give, because I actually managed to catch Liam's stream. I only watched like 2 or 3 minutes of it because I'm like, this is just rambling. But he pointed out, like, it was the Indiegogo page. It was like the picture of Kamen America after the battle, and like there's like a building that's been blown up, and he's like, well, look at that collateral damage. And I thought, well, that's this. He's probably parroting the Man of Steel criticisms about the collateral damage in that, and it's like parroting a critique, but not understanding what the context of that critique.
Yeah, they throw away the
not being able to, not just not understanding. But if you can't even describe it, he can't even explain it.
Yeah. They basically they throw away context, and it's why they can't understand or comprehend. They can't fucking analyze anything.
It's primarily his bitterness. He's just bitter that this is more successful than he'll ever do. He'll never be as good as this. He'll never make as much money.
Yeah, already. And that's the thing, is that also, that was with the Comicsgate's help, is the fucking Liam only got so much. But with Comicsgate, like, despising him or having cognitive dissonance about Tim and Mark, like, doubled what most people in Comicsgate even make on any of their comics. Without the grift, just by delivering, which is something that, again, Comicsgate can't do. Like, we could go for 1 million Liam Gray length streams about how Comicsgate is openly hypocritical about everything it has ever claimed to believe, but we don't need to do that because it's already proven. It's already true, regardless of it being pointed out. It's true objectively and quantified.
That's the one thing we'll always have above them. The one thing they can never do, they can never manage.
That's another thing why they're so angry about us, is because they know that they can't out-argue us, because what they have to do is strip out the context, and then they immediately lose the argument. Then they have to back off. They have to basically cower back into their fucking subscriber base and their own little hug boxes, which is not exclusive to Comicsgate. It's kind of a YouTuber thing. It's kind of a celebrity, inherently a celebrity-based thing. So
Xenotype's campaign opened in March. It was a 60-day campaign.
Last year? What year was that?
This year of 2020. And
so he showed up out of nowhere, basically.
No, he's been talking about this for. I mean, there are streams of Liam talking about this from like a year ago, and
so he couldn't even put up and shut up.
So he had a 60-day campaign. It has been in demand since the campaign closed. Right?
I don't even know what in demand is. In demand is just like, we'll sell more books. We'll keep taking more money.
That's pretty much what it is. In 33 days, Tim and Mark made more money than Liam has the entire time his campaign has been open. And
while releasing more books too. Other books.
And it's not based on a grift or promise, false promises.
His book is $60.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's 60. Holy shit! Because I only had to pay fucking $10 for any of fucking Tim and Mark's books.
Yeah,
and I already know they're objectively better.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, it's $50.
Okay, that's still.
That's still not. That's still.
You buy a video game. I could buy 2 video games on
sale. No, or on Steam on sale. That's more than 2.
Right. So it's $50. He has 6. Well, not only, but he has 467 backers. 668 backers total.
So not even 1,000.
Right. And Tim's got close to 2,000, I think, on the Kamen America 2 total.
Now it's climbing.
Yeah, almost 2,500, right? Because it was 2,100 on the Kickstarter.
On the Kickstarter, yeah. I was surprised. I was like, oh, that's, it's close to 2,000, but it's like, getting close to the end. It would be nice if it broke 2,000, especially without any help from the grifters who were angry at the idea of having to even bring him up. There was a specific rule, Ethan Van Sciver, and again, people don't know this in Comicsgate, but Ethan Van Sciver specifically had a rule where you would be banned if you would mention Tim and Mark he wouldn't have you on anymore
on his streams. You'd never come back.
Yeah, if you brought him up, you were, and it wasn't like a fucking a public thing where anyone would see it. It was only behind the scenes where Ethan would simply refuse to invite you ever again, and you would never get an explanation. He would start ghosting you, which is another thing I've seen from other people. Sort of unrelated, like other YouTubers do that very regularly too. Unironically though, and unsurprisingly, people who were friends with Ethan Van Sciver at any point have actually done that, where they will they would actually start ghosting their own friends just for fucking. And we might do a stream about that.
Ethan Van Sciver has burned more friends than he probably has ever had.
Yeah, he's burned more people and more friends than he's ever even made friends.
The blacklist in Comicsgate does exist.
Mm-hmm.
You can. I mean, JDA. I like JDA, but he can get a little out there sometimes with his persecution stuff. But
persecution.
He's always being persecuted and blacklisted. But there really is
from Mike S. Miller too, and Ethan.
But there really is a blacklist inside of CG of people who are still. They're still allowed to be Comicsgate, but nobody will work with them. Nobody will hire certain artists, nobody ever hires writers. Or editors or colorists.
They certainly don't pay them. In fact, they steal the money still.
As we've discovered, they don't pay them. They seem to take some kind of pleasure in not paying them.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But news on Ethan gossip. How's this? And it's not really gossip so much as I had received a DM because I don't watch Ethan's streams. I just can't. I will sit there through Liam's shitty streams in the hopes that he will spurg, but
one of the things
I
there's no denying that Liam is funnier just on accident.
Yeah, I just can't sit through an Ethan.
He's a source of comedy. It would be fair to say he's a source of comedy.
Wrecked Planet is supposed to ship in May of 2020. or 2021.
Red
right?
Planet's been around for billions
So he's literally
of years
released,
already. What the fuck?
Ethan Van Sciver has released no comics this year, and he won't even be releasing them at the beginning of next year.
Right.
But basically an
he
entire year without a release.
It is a 48-page comic book. He has completed, in 9 months, he has completed 23 pages.
And he's not doing the coloring either, so there's no excuse.
He has 25 pages left to complete on Wrecked Planet.
So there is also won't even be
there's also a supplementary comic called Dusting that is 30 pages.
Sounds gay.
That he still has to do. So Ethan, who has only done 23 pages in 9 months, is suddenly going to be doing 50.
Dusting is his rouge he puts on
55. He's got like 55 pages left to do before April, because if it's going to come out in May, it has to be at the printer by April. And so his second book is going to be probably it's not going to be as late as his first one, but it's going to be pretty fucking late. And then he's
eight pages of his first comic were like just single pages of
they were just splashed. Yeah.
Well, the final 20 pages of the first Cyberfrog, the final 20 pages were just concept art. Like some of them were old concept art from the 90s too. So it's just like, I'll take this old sketch and fucking throw it in there. And then there's
garbage.
Like the chapter pages were just like almost entirely black and would say, like chapter 2. And it's like you don't need a chapter indicator on a page that's not on
comic book. 50 pages. It's a comic book. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm pointing right at the screen and being, don't do that.
Don't do that. But so anyways, what we were going to do was we're going to, instead of playing the Liam Gray thing, we're just going to go over Jim Tuner's timestamps. How long has it been? Oh, 41 minutes. I thought it was going to be an hour. It's been an hour. Okay. It's only been 41 minutes.
Treasure. It's pure gold.
Pure gold. One other thing I want to mention, though, is that I had one beer.
Just one.
Just one. I swear to God, I won't get political. One beer later. But Mark on Twitter was saying, seems to be the new strategy from our detractors: silence during our Kickstarter campaigns, then point only at our Indiegogo last call secondary pre-orders to say we failed, hoping that their audience will be unaware of the previous Kickstarter.
That is some primo desperation right there.
Yeah, and it's notice where the behavior always comes from that same direction. It always comes from the It comes from the Comicsgate people, or if they're like, I'm in Comicsgate and I love Tim and Mark, and it's like, well, it's still coming from the people in your movement or people who behave the same as you.
Because there are
people who are like, I like Tim and Mark and I'm in Comicsgate, but those
I'm in a movement that denigrates them constantly and shit talks them and tries to ruin their reputation. But I love them. But then you really don't.
Well,
it's one or the other.
Nobody in Comicsgate does that. Comicsgate's in favor of Tim and Mark, so they're unaware. The thing is that even the supporters of Tim and Mark's books in Comicsgate, which I'm glad that they get they get supporters from wherever they can, anywhere. It's always good. And Tim and Mark fucking don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with fucking anyone buying my book for any reason, even if they hate me. So it doesn't matter. But there are people, specifically people in Comicsgate, who support Tim and Mark, who also are completely incapable of critical analysis. Their positive reviews are, this part's really dope. Oh yeah, what's dope about it? It's cool. Okay, that's the same thing. You don't have any compliments, but it triggers the SJWs. That's not critical analysis. That's not a reason why a book is good. The reason why a book is good is this part tells a great part of the story. This advances the plot. This
good storytelling, good characters,
which other people were doing. I noticed other people like fucking Vicky including, but a bunch of other people on Twitter would post a panel or a page from Kamen America 2 and say, oh, this is a really good scene because it teaches a good moral. or something, that right there is still more critical analysis than even the Comicsgate supporters of Tim and Mark. Because again, usually they're fucking, they don't have any critical analysis. They're just like, oh, it's really good. They're owning the SJWs with this book. You know, they don't have anything to say.
They usually just straight up don't say anything.
Yeah, if they say anything at all, they usually don't say anything at all.
Deathly silence whenever Comicsgate releases a book.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, also the one thing I mentioned in reply to Mark was it shows a core lack of principles to not count Kickstarter because Comicsgate doesn't personally like Kickstarter. That's another thing about Comicsgate that proves that they don't have any principles at all, is they don't like Kickstarter. Kickstarter sucks. I don't like Kickstarter. So if a comic does go down Kickstarter, they don't count it because they don't like Kickstarter. That shows that they don't
go ahead.
Skate doesn't believe in anything, and that just proved it
By all means, don't like Kickstarter. I don't like Kickstarter either. I don't even remember why. It's basically because I think they try and silence conservative viewpoints. You know, anyone who tries to make
only stupid conservative viewpoints that make it so obvious that they're like, my book is about killing all the Mexicans. It's like, okay, cool. I'm in favor of that, obviously, but you know, you don't have to make that your pitch on Kickstarter.
If Mike had chosen a different page, his book would have been up on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
If Richard Meyer didn't have an unfulfilled Kickstarter, he could have put Jawbreakers on Kickstarter. Or whichever.
He could have. He actually had Jawbreakers on there, and he took it off intentionally. He wasn't kicked. Like Richard C. Meyer was not booted off of Kickstarter. He pulled his book off of Kickstarter.
Yeah, and he wanted to put it up again, but he had an unfulfilled Kickstarter, so they wouldn't let him because it was against the rules. Unlike Indiegogo, Indiegogo's like, you don't have to fulfill anything, even though our terms of service say you do. You don't really have to because you're Comicsgate.
It's really weirdly squirrely how Indiegogo's rules work about how they'll have they have their rules, and they're like, oh, you know, who cares about the rules?
Basically, there's no rules against grift on fucking Indiegogo, apparently.
Well, especially if you're willing to work under the table with them, apparently, you know, from what people have said.
A little money their way.
In the curtain. Okay, Jim Tuner's here in time. Usually isn't Jim Tuner here instantly, but I don't know. Hey, Jim Tuner, make sure to hit the bell. But anyways, now that Jim Tuner's here, you know, we can focus on actually reading the comments. Again, not like not watching the video because we ain't got time for that. But
nobody.
The superior way is to just go through like his analysis of it. Which, even if Jim Tuner's wrong, I'd rather just read what he has to say about Liam Gray's stream than actually watch Liam Gray's dumb game.
Yeah, no, believe me, it's like the difference between swallowing poison and just looking at the fucking bottle label.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, one of the comments I left, though, on this says, most important thing to remember, Liam Gray isn't saying anything that Ethan Van Sciver and 99% of Comicsgate didn't also think, and only changed their...
This, to me, is actually really important, and I know a lot of people... There's a lot of people, maybe sometimes even us, who skim over that. Yeah. This is a problem with it's systemic.
Yeah.
It's a systemic problem with the fan base and Comicsgate as a movement.
And most people are not honest and never will be or have been honest enough to admit that the stuff they're saying, oh, Liam Gray's really embarrassing. Yeah, all of the stuff that you're laughing about Liam Gray with is stuff that we caught Comicsgate doing and actually displayed it for
years ago.
And nobody had the balls to even admit it because they were afraid. Because most people just are completely nutless. But anyways, yeah, so I mentioned they only changed their mind after we tore Liam Gray's mind and turned him into a liability to the movement.
We did that.
Into EVS by revealing a paper trail.
They don't credit us for this either.
Yeah, notice
we
had pointed out that Liam Gray was losing his fucking mind. And the first response that Ethan Van Sciver did, the first response he had was to take Liam Gray's side. And people have forgotten about that. It was only a couple months ago, and people have already forgotten that Ethan Van Sciver immediately took Liam Gray's side, and we got Ethan to turn against Liam by just forcing Liam to break further. And then also what we did, though, was we made, I don't know how many people even remember this, I made a video pointing out Ethan Van Sciver's direct funding of Liam Gray. Not his comic, but his behavior, which was endemic throughout the entire movement. There was a lot of doxing and gay ops and stuff in Comicsgate that was directly being funded with Comicsgate's money. And that there's a paper trail that completely objectively proves that. So there's no denying that the movement of Comicsgate is a doxing and gay ops movement by nature and through their funding. So nobody can even say, no,
we have to keep reminding that's also the thing. For me, it's like, well, we mentioned this isn't news, but people keep forgetting.
Yeah. Or they block it out of their memories like a childhood rape. Anyways, Shen says jealousy leads to denial, which is, that's also a good point about Liam, is that most of pretty much, not most, but everything Liam has to say about Kamen America is based entirely on jealousy and not being able to admit the fact. So then what happened?
The fact that we called him out on his shitty comic.
Also at the bottom, Bean from Pa just says, unbelievable, unfucking believable. I replied even. I even replied to her saying his purple prose really gives him away. That's a great reference.
That is a genius.
What part? Genius.
Anyway, she is a great reference.
Yeah. It's a delightful song. Anyway, so Jim Tuner I think Jim Tuner first did a timestamp, and then afterwards I think he did this other because it's doing this in reverse order. So the oldest or the newest comments are at the top, the oldest ones at the bottom. So his last comment, which I'll read first, is so Liam's helpful advice. And again, Vicky apparently watched the stream, so she could either confirm or deny or revise what Jim Tuner has to say. But Liam's helpful advice on Kamen America 2, in summary, is they needed to put a sexy man on the cover rather than a woman.
What the fuck?
Pretty much.
What the fuck?
Was that his point? Was that Liam's point about how he doesn't like how you don't need a female superhero, it should be a man because being rescued by women is not good.
Yes, and
apparently very insecure in
selling
his masculinity.
Using sex as a marketing tool is bad.
Which is objectively untrue.
And is
it's an SJW argument.
Yes.
Everything goes against all the rules, because apparently there's rules for Manger. It goes against the Manger rules.
We actually used to say, we would say, like 2 years ago, we would say Manger as a joke, but he does it today, like unironically. And I have
listened to probably every single show we do. Not just that he listens to us, he listens to everything we say.
And again, people have confirmed that about Ethan Van Sciver. So most likely Ethan has brought us up in private to Liam. So Liam was always trying to be a derivative, like a mini EVS. So most likely he also.
And now he's trying. Now he's dropped EVS.
Same way EVS
is no longer his friend, and now he's like Tank. He's in love with our blog and our channel.
He's got a feel for our automobile.
Well, now he gets to make up his own kind of Liam rules.
But he doesn't even seem to know how to do it right, because a lot of them are still the same old Comicsgate bullshit that doesn't make any sense.
His chat is the most amazing hug box. So yesterday, before he did this Kamen America stream, and he had his Spurging stream, there were new people in his chat, and they were probably, I think they were Etsy socks, honestly. But
you mean the people who want to just fuck with
the
him?
Etsy boys? Yeah, he is so paranoid about new people in his chat that he immediately just starts accusing them of
It's another good sign of weakness, though, is when you're paranoid about your own chat.
They are his enemies, and they are
your chat.
Yeah, and then he will just boot him.
Which is funny because that's something he should have learned from us. Also, is
ignore the chat. Don't
tell it's a fan.
But that's the thing is,
don't ignore it. Just ignore the bullshit in the chat. Don't.
These people
we don't even have mods. We've never had mods in any of our chats, so we never banned anyone.
That's what happens though when you're a fucking attention whore. Is any single word anyone says needs to be addressed immediately. But for us, that doesn't matter because we know they're empty. They're hollow people.
It's the old Christopher Hitchens rule: is that anything that can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So that means everything that Comicsgate thinks can be dismissed. Everything. So here, let's continue with the Jim Tuner comment though. To appeal to Tim's audience, Tim should be making a book about war, conquest, and the strong crushing the weak. Did Liam Gray really say that? Of course he said it's right.
He said something about conquest. I thought he was talking about Conquest Comics, but
he should be making Conquest Comics.
He's very anti-alt-right, though. He's very opposed to the alt-right. So we need more comics about conquest, according to a guy who is against the alt-right, according to himself.
Which it doesn't really make any sense because he's also against degeneracy, which is a strictly not only alt-right, but the alt-right got that from a fucking like a literal fascist fucking authoritarian faction from Fallout New Vegas,
specifically Caesar's Legion
or Kaiser's Legion.
Kaiser's Legion.
What's called Ave, true to Kaiser. Like if you or if you cry ever, Tim. But he also said women should never save men in a comic book. It goes against our DNA.
Why not?
Which, if you've ever seen the original High Noon, you already know that that's fucking bullshit.
Some people say that High Noon is communist propaganda, though.
Oh shit! Well, okay then.
Damn!
I heard that. I'm sure from probably some complete dipshit on Paul.
But the entire point of High Noon is that it's the sheriff and a bunch of criminals are coming out to kill him, and
he's got to stand on his own. I've seen High Noon. He has to stand almost completely alone against a gang when the town does not help him.
Yeah, the town
to take down these criminals.
And I think it's his wife at the end shoots one of the bad guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he's cornered. Yeah. And it's like, does that really fucking trigger your DNA that bad? It's a fucking story element. Who gives a shit?
Your obese cartoon DNA.
Plus, I mean, who doesn't? What real man doesn't like the idea of a fucking hot chick, being heroic or maybe rescuing them? And
my hot cowgirl, my reverse cowgirl, stepping up to shoot
reverse cowgirl fantasy is that this attractive? Thank you, Carly Vanders, for rescuing me. I will reward you with my dick. Yuck.
Go put it in you.
And then he says, and what kind of superpowers does she have? She can shoot lightnings from her hands and fly? How unoriginal. And I'm like, dude, have you looked at your character?
Yeah, have you seen Xenotype? You want to talk about unoriginal?
Have you seen Xenotype? Esper is Guyver. I mean, there's no...
Not even with a difference or a new take on it. It's
almost the exact same thing.
It's a blander character than the original. He didn't add a new twist or add like some kind of bizarre character things. Like he makes comic books, and it's like so you're doing a self-insert and you're admitting it. That's kind of pathetic.
It's even worse than just a ripoff of Guyver. Like, how do you make it so that a ripoff is even worse than just being a ripoff? You make it a ripoff and a Mary Sue self-insert.
Like a total gay wad.
Straight up, a Mary Sue. He's not a Gary Stu. He's a Mary Sue.
Yes, that's a Gary Stu would at least be a man. Anyways, yeah. Tim, the other thing he says is Tim needs to learn how to draw beauty like manga artists do, rather than sexy as he's doing in Kamen America, which is obviously false. Just fucking, that's
his head is spinning. His head is spinning at this point.
Yes. And then also the last point, and probably actually the dumbest, is they need to charge more for the book. So Tim and Mark charging only $10 for Kamen America 2 isn't enough and should be more for a comic that Liam's saying isn't good. It should cost more. It's not good. He doesn't like it, and it should cost more. It seems like a complete contradiction in concepts right there.
Now this seems almost Comicsgate.
Yeah, but the thing is that Liam himself says he's no longer Comicsgate. He says he's out of Comicsgate and doesn't want to be, and he'll ban you if you even bring up Comicsgate, even though he doesn't. But then he keeps following only the retarded tenets, the false beliefs of Comicsgate that have they've been debunked and proven to be completely fucking moronic. But he still believes them, even though he's not in the movement. And he says he's been banned and kicked out of the movement, but he also says he quit and that he doesn't belong to it and that he doesn't want to be in it. But then he wants to be in it. Like, Liam really doesn't even know what he's thinking. Anyways, the actual timestamps. Okay, we're an hour in. We can finally start reading the timestamps that Jim Tuner did.
It's time to start the show. Okay,
so let's get started.
Share, comment, subscribe.
Make sure to unsubscribe.
Click on the bell for notifications,
and don't click on the bell for don't notifications. Anyways, we're basically going to go until I get through all these timestamps, which could take a long time. It could take 1,000,000 years. Well, let's find out.
I'll hang around for a few, then I'm going to have to go.
A few years.
Okay.
We got pee real quick.
Well, let's see. Jim Tuner says at 0D00, it starts talking about Kamen America 2, says it has made peanuts, failed to make money. Now, here's the thing.
$10,000.
Yeah, even if the goal was $10,000 and they didn't make $10,000, if they only made $9,000, that still means it made money as long as he gets it,
It still made more money than fucking he did last year.
And here's the thing is that even if it say like literally number one only made $800, literally number one still came out and fucking Xenotype hasn't. In fact, literally number one came out months before Cyberfrog did, and Cyberfrog started its campaign before the literally number one campaign. So that means
which means you announced a project after Cyberfrog and then delivered it before Cyberfrog.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, when he says it failed to make money, and again, just based on the Indiegogo campaign, that's objectively untrue. He calls it shit, talks about that's of course obvious bitterness, talks about the mistake about mobilizing a radicalized audience, which of course is not even close to truth.
This is an important thing that I don't think anyone's mentioned yet so far, is that he claims to be part of Comicsgate, which also claims to be a pro-conservative comics support movement. And yet he also says then that this is an alt-right book.
Yeah, and that the audience is radicalized, which is somehow now supposed to be a bad thing. That's also clearly projection. It was,
but he doesn't prove it either. He also, in particular, does not even attempt to prove it.
The inferior proles of Comicsgate were the radicalized audience. So again, it's just
radicalized and stupid. Radicalized, stupid,
just project.
Cult members. They are cult members.
But that was another thing that he got so mad about Nasser, was that Nasser said that Comicsgate was a bunch of cultists, which was objectively true by actual fucking description and definition, defined objectively true. So that's undeniable. But for some reason, And again, Liam didn't run with that. Liam didn't say Nasser said that that we're cultists, so he's a bad person. That's something he got from Ethan Van Sciver, again, which is like most of everything he thinks, which is also objectively incorrect and debunked.
It's a good example of how weak-minded he is. He has to fucking borrow ideas from everybody else.
Debunked even.
He's debunking.
Jim Tuner says, I think he says the art isn't terrible and he's seen worse, which the art is
shit.
Better than
shit.
Everyone.
He even says it, he calls it shit.
Yeah.
It's shit, but he's seen worse. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just shit.
It's like a complete contradiction in the time span of only a couple minutes.
His own brain is betraying him.
The shadows and his brain betray him.
The shadows in his brain.
Yes, which there are
to make a more solid shadow.
Yeah, yes. Anyways, at 2:45, Liam now claims to have lived in the United States for several years.
That's a lie. He's lying.
Yeah, that's not true.
He never fucking. If he did, all he'd have to do is show a picture of his passport.
Yeah, he can debunk that at any second. And his name is fucking out in the public, and his criminal records are out in the public.
I used to be the Prime Minister of Australia. I used to call when I was the Prime Minister of Australia. I referred to my country that I ruled as Australia, because it's such a shit. It's
Dinosaur Island, I believe.
Dinosaur Island. These Dinosaur Island sounding fucking cartoon sounding retards.
Yes. Anyways, at 3:24, he says Kamen America 2 is a horrendous idea. That's another thing that comes directly from Comicsgate. That's not Liam Gray saying that. That is Comicsgate as a movement and as a collective people saying it's not saying Kamen America 2 is a horrendous idea, but describing comics as a horrendous idea without ever justifying it. Comicsgate can never justify their terms or their ideas. They just say a series of words that carry no meaning and are never justified or validated or described or defended. Or it's like if you had Comicsgate ever applying for a PhD, they would just make a thesis and it's like, okay, now you got to defend your thesis. They would fail every single time because they would just go to, no, I'm not going to, because they're not capable of defending any of their ideas or basically of proving them, of offering any critical analysis. It's the meme of the NPC where they don't have an inner dialogue or monologue. They're not capable of it. If they were, they wouldn't be in Comicsgate. It's like the meme of the if socialists understood the economy, they wouldn't be socialists. If Comicsgate understood anything they say, they wouldn't be Comicsgate. Let's see. 4:18, Liam calls the art on the Indiegogo page cringe. That's just him repeating a phrase or a word that he's heard on the internet without any meaning behind it. It's like if I said that Liam Gray's writing was gluflu blue because I heard that on the internet once. What does it mean? I just heard it. It doesn't matter what it means. It doesn't mean anything. What does it mean in this context? It doesn't mean anything in this context. It's just a series of noises. Liam Gray, like everyone else in Comicsgate, is just repeating a series of noises they heard from other people. In most cases, from us. The thing is that when it comes from us, we justify it and describe what it means and why. We fucking actually back up our arguments and provide the critical analysis that proves it true, the arguments, the evidence, and all that stuff. Whereas people in Comicsgate just repeat something they heard and then they can't back up any of it. They just are saying things, which also goes to show when they say something like Nasser is evil or fucking that Vicky is evil.
I am. Damn it!
How are they evil? What does that mean?
Not only I am so evil that Ethan said I could rejoin CG.
Oh shit! Well, that must be the most evil shit ever.
Yes.
That whenever you ask, in fact, that's happened several times where people asked Ethan Van Sciver, like, how is Nasser evil? What's wrong with him? Now, Ethan Van Sciver would have them banned from the chat. He's done that many times in the past several years too. And whenever that gets brought up, other people in Comicsgate then, fucking ignore it, turn their eye, bury their heads in the sand. That's the only thing Comicsgate's known for anymore, is burying their heads in the sand. Even people who say that, oh, Ethan, he's dumb. Even some of them just give him a free pass about that. Anyways,
and anyway, I'm sorry to have to jump. I gotta bounce and go eat myself some dinner. It's been a really long day.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
gonna
just
have some liquid dinner myself. I'm gonna have a beer soon.
Just thought I'd hang out with you guys for a little bit.
All
Everybody in the chat, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekends.
Thanks for coming on.
And tomorrow, Dean and I will be streaming over on Dean's channel, DA Talks, with the most interesting Comicsgate YouTuber, Big Daddy.
Never heard of him, but anyway, I
know. We shall be discussing, hopefully, Liam's threats to have him copyright struck, maybe a little bit of Nasser, how the Mullocks and the elites take adrenochrome from children so that they can live forever. It is going to be just fabulous.
Yeah, apparently Ethan's supply of adrenochrome was cut off.
So everybody have a great night, and hope to see all of you over on Dean's channel tomorrow night.
Yeah, I am subscribed to you and Dean, so
okay.
Everyone should go subscribe to them.
I'm actually going to make him schedule it ahead of time instead of like 2 hours before. So
that is good too.
Yeah. All right. Good night, y'all.
Make sure to hit the bell for notification. All right, we'll see you next time. And, I will continue reading some of this stuff. But at 418, when Liam calls the art in the Indiegogo page cringe, that's of course a lot of that is art that got people to buy the comics. More people bought Kamen America 2 than Xenotype, so you can tell that there's some real bitterness there. But specifically because the heroes are bragging in the photo, which again doesn't mean anything. It's just Liam repeating some noises out of his mouth that don't carry any signifying meaning or anything. I'll leave it like this. If at 6:01, it was a product marketed to dissidents, which is untrue objectively, and marketed to people who wanted sexy girls. That's partially true, at least. But the thing is that by Kamen America 2, people already knew that Kamen America 1 actually had a good story, like an interesting story. So people were buying. In fact, that was one of the things I was pushing about Kamen America 2, is that the first book had such a good story to it that I wanted the second book, because I knew it's going to be one of the only comic books that comes out in the entire year that will have any story at all. All the rest of comics, especially in Comicsgate, have no story and no characters, especially Xenotype. So let's see. He also says the idea was a right-leaning hero. That's not true. Kamen America is not political at all. Their highest tier was only $175, which he says is a mistake. A failed Liam Gray is a failed comic creator, so he wouldn't know. He still hasn't released a book, whereas Tim and Mark have released several books this year alone and the previous year. He says it caught the eye with boobage by failing to get an audience or something, which I'm not sure if Tim, I don't know if Jim sort of messed up some of the verbiage of that, but at the same time, I'm sure that fucking Liam Gray fucked up what he was saying too, because what Liam Gray says doesn't carry any meaning or can even be logically defended, because there's no logic or meaning to what he's saying. He's just like lashing out of spite and anger.
He's a human typo.
Yeah. He also says he made a mistake in doing too many comics, which is another objectively false statement. He also risked the anger of the Japanese if he did too many issues of Wall Knight. And Jim Tuner says, I don't understand that. Well, of course, there's nothing really to understand about anything that Liam's saying here. At 9:20, he said that Kamen America is a far-right political book. Again, objectively untrue. Anyone can read the book. It's well, fucking hair in my mouth. He said that, yeah, a far-right political book. It's not even close. It's not even a right-wing political book. It just features some Christianity. That's pretty much it. That's all Kamen America 1 or 2 has. It has a couple Christian characters, which isn't even really blatant. So there's no political. I mean, there are political ideas in it, but not to the point where it's like slamming it in your face and that kind of thing. It's more about, if anything, like one of the biggest political statements is about like the falseness of like public relations marketing, which I guess is more, in a way, that's almost closer to left wing, but it's not really. In fact, if anything, it's politically neutral. It's just honest and factual. In that sense. This one's weird. Back to him. Liam says that Tim Lim has not cultivated an audience, which is like quantifiably false. That he has not listened to what the comics audience wants, again, quantifiably false, and has not produced something in line with what the audience wants. Again, not only quantifiably false, but it means you can actually measure with like fucking weights and scales how objectively incorrect Liam Gray is. But again, what a lot of people forget about or bury their heads in the sand about is that Liam Gray didn't have this opinion. He got this opinion from the other people in Comicsgate behind the scenes who were saying this about Tim Lim because they were angry that Tim and Mark weren't choosing to continue to openly be part of Comicsgate. And you can see a lot of people in Comicsgate openly being angry and whiny. In fact, there was that video that I re-uploaded about the Comicsgate guy who was whining like a little bitch that Tim and Mark didn't put a little hashtag Comicsgate on their campaign, which is objective proof that Comicsgate as an ideology is inherently whiny and effeminate. That's proven. Case closed. And Capecucks raped like the faggots that they are too. Anyways, 1017, he says that Kamen America represents a radical ideology. Again, radical. When you say radical ideology, that can be proven. You can say, here's the signifiers of a radical ideology. Here are the those elements in Kamen America. You can point to them right there, say what they are. They're fucking listed, and none of them are in Kamen America. It's all Liam Gray is just repeating words that he heard from other people. Thing is, that was Ethan Van Sciver who first said behind the scenes that Tim and Mark are Nazis, basically. Ethan Van Sciver said that in private, though, to other people. So a lot of the proles in Comicsgate are not smart enough to know that Ethan thinks that, but the people who've seen behind the scenes, and some of the people who were in the movement, either current or former, actually ended up telling me about that. Anyways, yeah. So Kamen America represents a radical ideology. It doesn't, wrapped up in a bunch of cute characters. That part's almost true. I mean, there's cute characters, but also sexy. Like sexy and cute are fucking. They don't really overlap, but it also doesn't matter. Liam also says that has no message. That's objectively untrue. But we quantified that with our review. We proved that it does actually have not only a message, but more message than anything anyone in Comicsgate's ever written, including especially Liam Gray, who in fact, that was one of the things we pointed out when we reviewed Liam Gray's comic, is that it has no message. He says it's not a sustainable property. Again, objectively untrue, because it's not only doubled, but I think tripled. Kamen America 2 tripled what Kamen America 1 made. So it's not only sustainable, but it's now outgrowing all of anything Liam Gray's ever had, even remote any connection to. At 10:45, Liam is not making enough money and that's where the mask kind of slips there, it sounds like. And the people reading his books are not comic fans. It's a cause that people are tired of rather than a character. I could be like, what is that about? Is that fucking, I don't know. I don't know if it sounds like a bunch of babble that's Jim Tooner is even having trouble summing up, because at this point it is just completely insane yammering that Liam just is his mind tore. So and I'm looking forward to it tearing further, of course, just for fun. 1150, the book depends on sex and flash in the pan marketing, which doesn't have any flash in the pan marketing. Flash in the pan isn't a marketing term. A flash in the pan specifically refers to something that only is temporary, which that's, not a marketing idea. Also, the book depends on sex. That's objectively untrue because most of the people bought the book for the actual story. It just has fucking, it has attractive girls, but the thing is that, there's a lot of other books that have more sexuality and dirtiness to the art or to the look than Kamen America 1 or 2 even. Apparently, he says the art is goofy and corny. Tim Lim wanted to market to the sexy weeb markets, which again is a perfectly good idea and probably a good explanation of why Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini are not only outproducing but also outselling the vast majority of people in Comicsgate. And I'm talking about outselling to more people. In Comicsgate, the books that are making the most money actually sell to less people than Kamen America 2. Kamen America 2 sold to like 2,000 people, and it made like $60,000, whereas a lot of Comicsgate books sell to about 1,000 people, but they make like $100,000 because they're basically... Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and I won't get into all of them, but one of the main reasons is that they're just charging more, not for the books, but for the useless bullshit around the books. Like one book in particular, Cyberfrog 2, is charging $200 for a cardboard box for the comic to come in, whereas Tim and Mark don't charge anything for the cardboard box. He also says... Tim doesn't understand what he is marketing or what he is selling, which again is objectively untrue, considering that Tim and Mark, and this is at 1150, Liam Gray didn't become aware of the Kickstarter until like 20 minutes after all this babbling. So he's just mostly trying to rationalize that this is Liam trying to rationalize the part that he doesn't even understand about the Tim and Mark's book. At 13 minutes, Tim is making comics that are jerk off bait for the alt-right, which is again now this is just Liam rephrasing incorrect things because he doesn't know what else to say. He doesn't have any part of the book he can point to and say, this part of the book is wrong and it's incorrect to do this part. Because it doesn't have the book, he didn't buy it, and he doesn't know what's in the book. He doesn't actually know anything about Kamen America 2. He's just complaining, which proves the old adage that nerds, especially comic book nerds, especially everyone who supported Comicsgate, are only capable of complaint and not critique. And complaint just means, I don't like it. Whereas critique, which is what we've always done before Comicsgate ever existed, is here's why it's incorrect, based on other writers, but based on successful writers. And of course, we ourselves are not only successful published writers, but we're published in books that get on store shelves, whereas most of Comicsgate has never gotten onto store shelves. In fact, Tim and Mark also... just to show the conflict of interest that we're fully happy and willing to admit to, Tim and Mark publish one of our stories. That's something that they don't do for anyone else and will never do for anyone else ever again. They might do it for us. I don't know, in the future, which would be nice. But even if they didn't, it was nice that we got to do it for one book. So that's always cool. Let's see. Continuing from 13 minutes in, Liam says the Lim's audiences are humorless, angry people. That's obvious projection from the entire comic book movement, though. That's something that that was said specifically about Ethan, and Ethan, that got really under Ethan's skin, and he complained about that to other people in Comicsgate behind the scenes, in DM groups and that kind of thing, or in voice chats that weren't streamed. Continuing on, Lim's audience wants stories that are about war and conquest and crushing the weak. According those are in quotes, so apparently fucking Liam Gray actually thinks that Tim's audience wants that. But what is Liam's proof that Tim of what? How would Liam Gray know what Tim's audience wants? Prove it. Go ahead and fucking show us. Point to the specific part of Tim Lim's audience where they want war and conquest and crushing the weak. Go ahead.
Yeah, hell, find one tweet, because that's so alien.
From like Tim or Mark or anyone that buys their books or has bought their books in droves more than fucking Xenotype. It's like, oh, I bought Kamen America too. I really hope it has a lot of war and conquest and Kamen America crushing the weak. Nobody, not even one sentence from anyone.
And most of what I've seen is like the opposite. They've been praising like the compassion and the more like dramatic scenes, emotional scenes.
Yeah, the actual like the humanity. That's the thing. That's one of the things that people really actually like about the book and the story and the character of Kamen America in both 1 and 2 now, is that they like the humanity of the main character and even also her friends, but also how it's sort of spelled out by sort of the villains show that they want to use her humanity sort of against her, but also her humanity in the sense that she even has some flaws that like in Kamen America 2, a lot of it is about how she wants like appreciation for her work, but at the same time, like she doesn't have that that sense of going out and forcing people to fucking give her praise either. And she's like, in her head, she's like trying to sort of square the circle or understand how why she even feels that way. And other people like come to her and explain, it's not always going to be like that. And she comes to it like sort of an understanding, and it's leads to several nice moments in the book that a lot of the general normie cattle, as portrayed in the book, also don't appreciate and will probably never see. And that, in a way, that's the actual message. That's the real politics of the book, is that a lot of people will never appreciate the stuff you actually do or work at or are good at. But but sometimes it's virtue is its own reward. It's worth being good or doing something good just to do something good, and that's kind of what the book's about. And it says that the reason why that's in there is almost as a direct criticism of Comicsgate as a movement. Even some of the people in Comicsgate who liked Tim and Mark's books. Also going back to this, he says the tone of the book is feigned nobility, which isn't even a tone. There's no, it's not nobility or feigned, but also Liam wouldn't know because he didn't read the comic. He's just reading the fucking Indiegogo page. At 14:10, he says the book is not manga or anime. Tim Lim is impersonating manga rather than knowing how to make manga. The thing is that Tim is just making a comic. He's not trying to impersonate anything. That's just his style. Like that's how he's drawn. Not only how he's drawn, but it's how he's drawn for Udon, which is more than anything Liam Gray or anyone Liam Gray knows could ever say. And that he's not trying to make manga, whereas Liam Gray himself is trying to make manga and trying to pretend that he can, but Liam Gray cannot actually make manga. So that right there is very obvious projection as well. at 1430, it's not just a failed book and a failed franchise, which now is that's quantifiably untrue now again. But he says that it's just a pretty girl art and it just doesn't work, which is again quantifiably that's proven objectively untrue with hard data just by the Kickstarter, but also by the Indiegogo. Even if that Kickstarter didn't exist, the Indiegogo making $10,000 proves that fucking it's not just pretty girl art, and that does work, and that's not a failed book or a failed franchise. This is fucking this is Liam Gray losing his mind and not even understanding what he's saying. But we've seen other people in comics, and again, Ethan's the easy example, but Mike S. Miller himself said stuff like this. John Malin said stuff like this. Other just YouTubers in general, like Just Some Guy, said stuff like this about other books where it didn't apply either. So it's endemic throughout the entire movement to go around saying that it's a failed book, a failed franchise, and doesn't work for something that they're just angry about. That's how you know that they're just angry. When somebody in Comicsgate is just mad about something, they call it failed. And it's also partially projection too, of course, because where's Liam Gray? If your book isn't out, you have failed. Until your comic book actually comes out, your book has failed. Fucking Tim and Mark's book that you're complaining about has already been out and been getting in the hands of backers. That's something that you can't say and possibly will never say for your entire life. That's something that Ethan Van Sciver can barely say, and wouldn't have been able to say if we didn't specifically corner him and force him, to basically pressure him into releasing his book, which, as it turns out, was unfinished. Let's see, at 1542, Lim goes over the bios of Mark and Tim. He says that no one cares, which is objectively proven wrong by the fact that this is one of the oldest rules of trolling, is that not only we told to people, but we specifically told to people on their live streams, and they fucking they were like, oh, okay, they were just confused like retards. But if you say no one cares and you're fucking doing a stream about them, you care, so someone cares, which means you debunked yourself. And that's, again, that's what we do to people all the time, and they get mad. Whenever you see somebody get mad at us for anything, it means we proved them wrong about something. 100%. There's no exceptions to that ever. Let's see. Liam then makes vague threats that he could strike their Indiegogo campaign, which again, now that's part of again, that is not from Liam. That is Comicsgate, who has done that to other people, where they have actually struck other people's campaigns, attacked, false flagged. Many people in Comicsgate are directly responsible for false flagging people's accounts for years. There's a long documented history that everyone knows about except for the commoners, except for the proles, the Untermensch, the inferiors. They are unaware of what's actually going on behind the scenes, so they don't know the behavior of their own movement. Let's see. Liam makes vague threats that he would strike their Indiegogo campaign, which, again, you'd actually have to have a reason. But first of all, Indiegogo also ignores the rules. If you break the rules, Indiegogo ignores that, especially if you just make enough money, or if somebody who makes enough money comes in and says, hey, do this as a favor to me. But which is what happened actually with Vox Day, is that somebody, specifically, again, Ethan Van Sciver, went behind the scenes to the Indiegogo staff and said, hey, pull this campaign because I don't like them. And, they're Nazis. And if you don't pull them, I'll fucking start a campaign of, I'll start a social media harassment campaign against your site, saying that you're platforming Nazis. So Indiegogo pulled it, which is how most of Comicsgate has gotten its attention and worked, is by just repeating the SJW tactics. And again, that's not our observation. That's not me saying that. That's people who know Ethan Van Sciver personally came out and admitted that.
That's what the evidence points to.
Yeah, well, not just the evidence, but people admit it, like fucking, because there's evidence that points to that, but also the people who were responsible for doing that and for seeing that kind of stuff came out and said, yeah, we did that stuff for Ethan. And that they got money. Ethan Van Sciver was actually paying money to people to do that kind of thing to other people, not just to Vox Day, because he just had to make the threat in that case. But this is where Liam gets this behavior where he's claiming that he could strike their Indiegogo campaign. He says, but he will not do it unless they steal his art, which nobody has ever done. Liam likes to make that claim a lot, though, of course, because his mind is torn.
We did that.
Yes. Tuner says, I think Liam is making a threat that he will strike their campaign if there's any retaliatory review of Xenotype by Tim or Mark, which Tim or Mark don't review comics. So that's Liam Gray just being the retard that led him to be a part of Comicsgate and to be funded directly by a lot of people.
You know what they should do, though? They should review it. Call his bluff.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that Liam doesn't know not to have his bluff called. We called Liam's bluff and got Liam Gray kicked out of Comicsgate. We basically we got him to directly harm his own business. And he didn't have to do that because we even told him, this will destroy your career. You will never be a creator. Like Marvel Comics, I've actually talked to people in Marvel Comics, Donnie Cates and specifically. I talked to Donnie Cates like a month ago, and Donnie Cates says that Liam Gray now is basically on the security list at Marvel to never, they'll basically say if they even see the name Liam Gray, that he would never be able to work there, of course, because of the threats that Liam Gray made. All this stuff, not just in the Big Two, because it's like, hey, fuck it, who wants to work for the Big Two anyways? But anywhere else, Liam Gray made his own name dirt. He put dirt in his own eye to basically destroy his own reputation. And we got him to do that to himself. And there's never going to be any undoing that. There's no redemption for people who destroy their own reputations. But at the same time, we're also getting Liam to make it worse.
He's kind of like Frankie the Bat Niagara.
Yeah. Fucking, he just loves cartoon violence, It's a fact.
He's Niagara as in he cries a lot.
Oh, well, in this case, in Liam Gray's case, yes. The thing is, we also got basically, we fucking scared Ethan off of even supporting Liam. Because again, Ethan was supporting Liam at first until we made a video showing that Ethan Van Sciver was directly giving money to Liam Gray for having us deplatformed, which could get Ethan Van Sciver into legal trouble. All of a sudden, Ethan started backing off and was like, oh, you know what? I don't like this Liam Gray anymore. But, and some people forget about that because they're low IQs. They have short memories and that kind of, I don't even have a good memory, but I remember stuff that's important at least. Which is why
I barely remember
Superior as well as more.
I barely remember most of Comicsgate.
And this is why Tim and Mark like us more than they friggin' really like almost anyone else, is because we've been honest before anyone else was, but also we're interesting, and they also think that we're better comic creators than most other people. And that's not my opinion. That's not even Tim and Mark's opinion. They had us write a comic for one of their books. Who else do they do that for? Nobody.
Definitely not Comic Book Hut.
Yeah, but I wanted to give Comic Book Hut a mop job. So, yeah. At 17 minutes, he says that Kamen America is doing the same thing mainstream comics have been doing for a decade. Objectively untrue. Again, with no argument to back that up.
Yeah, again, that's something that is a claim. You need to stop and explain if you're going to make that claim.
Yeah. Yes, if you're going to make anyone, you have to be willing to defend your thesis. And so far, everyone in Comicsgate is a fucking would never even make it for a PhD.
Too cowardly. Not even a PhD. They want to even make it to a fucking. They won't be able to fucking make a Hostess cupcake. They can't whip up a Hostess cupcake as a fucking chef.
Plus, they're gay.
But that's the thing. That's one of the most important things is he makes a whole bunch of claims. He never backs up a single one of them.
Yeah.
And that is simply, if you're going to make a claim like that, you need to stop and actually go and explain it. Because people are listening and wondering what the fuck you're talking about when you make a claim like that, when you make a statement like that.
While you were in the bathroom, I was actually pointing that out, is that Comicsgate never backs up any of its claims. It just makes a claim and then never tries to prove it. Whereas us on the opposite side of the honesty spectrum is that we always prove every claim we make and have the evidence right there. Or
they're jealous.
People just know it.
They're jealous of us. They hear us do it all the time, and they think all you have to do is make the claim. But they have no idea what it actually takes to be able to think about something. They've never thought.
We've seen their true face, I guess. At 1824, he claims that Tim Lim wanted to be the supervillain of Comicsgate. Not even close to true. That's never been said, and Tim Lim's never even said anything even remotely close to that.
Yeah, who was it that fucking...
We've never said that.
I think, was it Captain Cummings or some shit like
Captain
that?
Captain Cummings used to describe himself as the supervillain of the internet. So that most likely, that like jumbled mess of like false memories and bullshit is what Liam's apparently pulling from. I don't know.
I don't
it's
even
the closest thing I can even figure out.
I don't think it's even that. It's just that he hates Tim Lim, so he's afraid of Tim Lim.
Yeah,
he's like a civilian in one of those fucking regular cape shit comics. When the supervillain shows up, all he can do is run, hide, and scream
like a little faggot. But yeah, I think you're actually right about that. Is that he's not even pulling from incorrect memories. He's just angry about Tim Lim because.
Well, angry and afraid.
He's basing this off of fucking... I don't know what he's really basing this off of, aside from the fact that we reviewed Tim Lim's comic and gave it a positive review. I think that just Liam Gray, it like freshened it in Liam Gray's mind that he decides to hate Tim Lim because Ethan Van Sciver told him to like a couple years ago.
And also because Tim Lim is on our side and he is just so... Fucking Liam and Ethan are just so positioned against us because we are the biggest threat to their existence. We're the ones who made them have to make comics.
Biggest threat to their existence.
They weren't going to make comics until us.
It's why Ethan Van Sciver is afraid to even mention our channel. Like he'll sometimes mention us, but he won't actually mention the channel. And then when our channel got pulled, Ethan actually celebrated, and he was like, "See, I told him that that they shouldn't do that."
Touchy little gay bitch that he is.
Yeah, Ethan Van Sciver was fully in favor of our channel being deplatformed originally, until he realized that it was going to backfire on him, possibly in a legal sense. Which I'm not even saying we would fucking do anything illegally about it.
That'd be work.
But that there was a paper trail to having us deplatformed that led directly to Ethan Van Sciver that was shown. Like people were actually looking at it and saying, Ethan Van Sciver paid this guy who false flagged the channel. And that was undeniable. And so Ethan all of a sudden realized that could backfire on him really badly.
It's not something we even went looking for.
Oh, Liam's actually bad.
We didn't even attempt to find evidence showing that.
With that weird gay push to voice that he does. Anyways, 1833, he says again that it's a dead franchise and a failed franchise, which is quantifiably false. So, 1845.
Is he talking about manga in general? Because I thought he...
No, I think he's saying that Kamen America somehow... Now, again, this goes to show this is before Liam was aware of the Kickstarter, which... had already run and finished.
I don't know. Did he?
This is the stupid. This goes to show that Liam Gray actually is objectively retarded. Is that he's only reviewing this because the fucking Kickstarter fulfilled.
I think
in order for
brain
Kickstarter
hurts.
to fulfill, it had to have existed, and Liam Gray didn't know that a book people had in their hands at that exact second was from a fucking successfully crowdfunded campaign that had already finished fulfilling, that he wasn't even aware of, that he was complaining about. That's how stupid he is. He is one of the dumbest people. But the thing is, that also explains why Ethan Van Sciver said that Liam Gray was one of his best friends.
The headaches are from his neurons actually firing, which his head isn't used to.
Yes, his neurons are trying so hard to fire that it's giving him the headaches.
It's like a dry engine.
Just to find out his brain is attempting to function.
His 1 horsepower brain has an empty gas tank, but he keeps pulling on the fucking cord. He's pulling on the pull starter, trying to get it started.
Also,
and it's just empty.
It's worth mentioning, by the way, that it's worth mentioning again that Ethan Van Sciver had multiple screaming fits behind the scenes for the past couple of years about how much he hates Timlin. This is why Liam is doing this right now, is because he's just following the cue from Ethan, from Uncle Ethan. We're behind the scenes.
His marching orders.
Screaming bitch. He's a fucking whining baby.
It's totally follow the leader.
Yes. Anyways, yeah. So Liam says that Kamen America is a dead and a failed franchise after it's only grown like 3 times bigger than it ever has been, and is it's back.
That was a real boneheaded move to even make that claim.
It's a real Comicsgate move, you could say.
Yes.
At 1845, he says the manga style is not sufficient, which doesn't mean anything.
It's not an argument. It's not even a point of view.
Yeah. He also here's something that
again he's wailing he's wailing on that pull start so fucking hard for his brain that he's going to throw out his shoulder.
Yeah, he's going to dislocate his own shoulder and break his elbow in 10 places. He shouldn't do that. That's my advice.
He should do that. At least somebody might feel sorry for him.
Yes. Then I have to say, if
it's his only hope now is to get people to pity him,
do something bad to himself, people might actually feel bad for him.
I wouldn't do that, but somebody else might.
Yeah,
I get the feeling he'd only want us.
His grandma would throw a party.
His grandma, just after his grandma finished laughing.
Here's one of the dumbest claims, though, is right after he claims that manga sells beauty where Timlin can only sell sex appeal, which none of that is even remotely true from any angle.
Does he make some fucking arguments to prove that or explain that?
Nope. He just said it. He says it like he expects people to just believe what he says without any evidence or argument or backing it up, or not even so much as a rationalization, though.
I'm sure he has 3 or 4 retarded idiots who will fucking do that. Well, especially now that he's got to delete every single thing that he ever posts to YouTube, and so it all ends up on a Bitshoot channel meant to prove him to be an idiot. This is not helping him.
Well, he comes from a movement of people who believe everything they're told, even with evidence debunking and disproving what they believe. So it's
hey, Liam Gray, you can breathe water. Even put your head in your bath and breathe the water and show everybody that you can breathe water.
They would actually do that. Like that's where kids eating Tide Pods came from, is that exact same mentality that Comicsgate has.
He's absolutely a Tide Pod eater.
But like even other people in Comicsgate or even around Comicsgate, like Tug and fucking anyone who's friends with Tug or fucking Comic Hut, would just believe stuff just from being told without any proof, and they would just repeat it, and they would expect people to believe it just because they said it. But the thing is that, again, it's like the Frankie B. Flat fucking, it's a dome and all that kind of shit. It's just that level of sheer idiocy with zero evidence, and they don't even understand the concept of evidence or backing up your argument. They just hear something and repeat it. They're just parrots. They don't actually have any independent thought or cognizance They're not capable of it, probably genetically, because most people who are retarded are just, as a result of genetic brain damage. That's all it is.
Well, I think it goes beyond genetic brain damage. I think there also has to be an element of their upbringing,
and some element of morality. Like a lot of them are just like retarded people. I'm saying are morally bad people too.
Yes, we're stupid. The mentally ill people tend to be very violent too. Unexplained violence.
Yeah, and it's
explosive, intermittent explosive.
If they were abused as children, it's because they were bad children.
Yeah, they deserve to be abused.
Their parents were like, I don't want custody.
Both of their parents.
Yes. Their parents probably better. I mean, their parents were pieces of shit too, of course, but their parents probably still better people than they are, at least.
His grandma.
Yeah, sometimes it's grandma. Sometimes grandma just needs an uppercut, I guess. I mean, we're not saying that Liam Gray didn't also beat the shit out of his mom too. That's entirely possible.
We just don't know. You have to decide on that for yourself.
Jim Tuner, we're coming up. Well, we're not coming up very fast, but we're coming up on the turning point in the stream where Liam discovers the Kickstarter that everything he said was wrong. Oh no, that's too bad.
Oh no.
Let's see if we can get to that eventually. I'm not going to stop the stream until we actually get through all the timestamps, at least. So it could go for a while, but again,
where did Vicky
videos?
Where did Vicky go?
Vicky had to fucking cash out. She was
nobody else in the thing.
Yeah, no. And you know what? Who cares? Who cares? Besides, man, who the hell cares? Let's see. Yeah,
claims a piece of art is he weaponized politics.
Oh yeah.
Somehow he weaponized politics. The politics such as be moral, be honest.
Weaponized fucking politics right there. But before that, though, in 1922, he says it was a book that made no money, which is, again, quantifiably false. Even for the campaign he was looking at, that was false, and appealed entirely to an audience of, again, what he says, radicalized people who are not comics fans. Again,
that might be true. That part might actually be true. It probably did appeal to an audience that aren't comic fans. After all, comic book fans are morons.
Yeah, people who the people in Comicsgate who like comic books are fucking retarded losers with shit taste who don't like anything good.
If you should not fucking
if you have to not like anything good to like comic books, then definitely you want to appeal to people who don't like comic books because comic books are for fucking stupid idiots.
And that can be pretty radical. It's a pretty radical idea that you're not going to make you're not going to make a product for an audience that doesn't deserve anything.
Well, an audience of pathological lying like frauds who support who falsely claim to support merit and then reward everything but they reward anti-merit, they reward status and false promises and paying for potential, as they used to say in the PlayStation 3 days. Like the everything that Comicsgate has ever believed has been proven to be the exact opposite of everything they've ever said, without exception. There's not a single exception.
I didn't have to do anything about that either. I just sat back and
we
watched.
said that they would too, by the way.
I noticed.
Openly called that out.
It's very much the more you notice.
In fact, Tim and Mark, one of the reasons why they liked our channel so much was because we were right about that. And the same for people like Doug TenNapel and even suspiciously John Malin and Mike S. Miller. Very interesting. A lot of the big people in Comicsgate followed us while the little trolls were afraid to even watch our videos. Very interesting how that works, how only the top people were actually keeping an eye. Ethan Van Sciver also and Liam Gray were also subscribed to our channel as well. Let's see. Was that 1920? Oh, yeah. So at 2018, he says that they weaponized politics to sell their books, which that's just a buzzword that he's just repeating.
Yeah, as I already explained, the weaponized politics are morality.
Yes.
Civility, promoting civility and good morals.
You know, 2113. He claims a piece of art is nearly stolen from Cutie Honey, which is not only true, but that's something that was accused. I think somebody theorized that Odie was taking poses from from Berserk and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
wasn't exact, but that was the sort of
and we never claimed that. We never claimed that it was like just straight up tracing. We never said that.
He accuses them of stealing outfits, and to be real careful about that. There's actually no risk to that.
But on top of that, this is a guy
specifically exact.
This is a guy who's just straight up stole Guyver. Not just even that he's stealing outfits or it's too close to a certain outfit. It's like, here's Guyver. I'm taking Guyver. And you idiots fucking ignore this shit.
One of his friends who literally stole like a fucking a logo from a Capcom game. Fucking Tug just straight up stole like the Umbrella logo, and he's trying to market it, which fucking from what I heard, somebody tried to report that to Capcom, but again, I don't fucking really even give that much of a shit about it. We didn't have anything to do with that, but I remember hearing about that. And I think Capcom does have every right to protect its intellectual property.
Reporting somebody for that, I'm not going to go out and do that. But at the same time, you're a pathetic, no ideas fucking faggot loser when you're doing something like that, because you just straight up.
Like, that's not us saying that. That's objectively factual, is that these people don't have any ideas. That's not even our interpretation of things. That is the way things actually are. We're just, saying what the facts are, which is, again, why so many people like our channel and don't watch other people's channels, is because we're the only people who can even speak the truth about anything. Because we're in a position to do it. That's why we always said we didn't fucking want a bunch of followers. We didn't even want to hit the 1,000 mark, because then suddenly people are going to think we're beholden to their stupid fucking opinions and shit.
But quite simply, why we never reached that point is because we never fucking kowtowed to an audience.
Yeah, I know even some of our subscribers had that expectation of us at some point, and we wouldn't do it. And
I saw what was happening. People would come up back in the shitty webcomics blog days. People would be sending us asks, being like, "Why don't you do this?" Or "I want to see this," and we'd be like, "No."
Yeah, they were like, well, "How come you don't post about this?" Or it's like they would send us posts for us to fucking submit, and we would just delete them because they sucked.
Well, I would read them, and it's like, this isn't worth our time. If it's not worth my time, I'm not going to post it.
Yeah, or they could make their own blog if they wanted to.
I was especially tired of that shit. You guys should post this. No.
And it's just
20 of fucking
for some person's blog post.
No.
Where it wasn't that interesting. It didn't have
insight to your own blog. And they never would. That's another critically important element. They would never post it.
I remember your bare minimum was, send a screenshot of you calling Kate Leth a retard, because then you're actually putting skin in the game.
Yeah. If you're gonna say like, "Oh, Kate Leth said this," and it's like, so are you gonna say something back? Or are you just gonna whine about it on our blog? Because that's not what our blog. Our blog is not for you to whine about how you don't like somebody that we don't even.
Did you see what Kate Leth said? I could have guessed she said about 90% of the shit.
Yeah, every single screenshot that people sent to us is like, yeah, I could have guessed that she would say that. What's the fucking big deal?
It's not even something original for her.
But then whenever she would say something like, I cheated on or like I fucking fucked a married man behind his back and he died of cancer, then all of a sudden we would have to hear that from somebody else. And it's like, so
after the fact,
you were just going to whine about how she said this, but then
it's like a month
that she
later
admitted to something.
It's like, wait, this is actually something worthwhile. How come we're late to the party? Why are you people late to the party? I don't have a Twitter account, so I'm not going to fucking follow this bitch.
And I did, but I didn't follow her because I didn't shit. But then it's like other people eventually screen caps is like, oh, all this stuff. And a lot of that did come from our blog still. But it was like the people who actually were whining about her suddenly didn't have anything to say. Like they're like, oh, why aren't they posting my stupid screen caps? Anyways. But yeah, so he claims a piece of art's nearly stolen from Cutie Honey. None of that's obviously true. Jim Tuner says, I would take this as Liam making another threat. At 2144, again, it's a failure because they didn't make enough money. Liam has nothing to say. When people have nothing to say like this, they just keep fucking.
Well, this in particular is
stating the same thing for 20 minutes.
Especially faulty argument. It's about selling your book for less than you could demand. When you demand too much money, it's cost prohibitive. Nobody's going to buy your book if you decide to charge $60 or $80, unless you are selling them at your own book. Unbelievable morons.
Which is also what happened with a lot of Comicsgate, is that Ethan got caught buying his own book multiple times and then having Dynamite Comics buy multiples of his book as well. Usually the highest tiers, just to boost the backer number. See, that's the thing about e-celebs that a lot of you don't even know, is that they don't fucking operate honestly. They just, like, a lot of them, like, think of the most popular streamers that you know of who have, like, you know, over 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers. They bought those. They just bought subscribers and they buy views.
Maybe not necessarily. If they have 50,000, they might not necessarily have bought 50,000. They might have only bought like 10,000, 25,000.
All you need is to buy like 1,000 subscribers, and it will give you that boost in the algorithm. And then you could say, my channel is growing, and that's all you need. That's how all of them do that, though. That's not a secret.
Except for us. We never do that. We've never done that.
If you don't know that that's true, you're so much more beneath the actual fucking information spray it's kind of like a piss spray, but of information.
It's an absolute nobody nothing move.
Yeah, you are beneath the fucking cloud of knowledge if you don't even know that most YouTubers who have any popularity at all just buy a lot of their subscribers and views. So if you even have someone who's like, oh, this is my favorite person, and they have like 100,000, that means that they bought subscribers. Without exception, the person you think, well, no, this person doesn't do it. Yes, that person did it too. Every single one of them. And maybe they didn't even buy it for themselves, but other people bought it for them to create the false image of a community and that kind of thing, like a growing community. We're all growing, and it's all about this big community that's getting bigger and bigger all the time. It's creating it's public relations. That's what they're in. That's what the job of a YouTuber is to be a public relations ploy. And everyone knows this except for you. The rest of you you're not into the fucking you're not in the loop. You're out of the loop. You're way beneath it. You're one of the people who are just used to advertise to. You're an advertising target. That's all you are. That's all you'll ever be too, though. And we didn't even have to see behind the curtain. It's obvious shit. Everyone knows it. But most people just don't want to admit it, or they're not smart enough.
Actually explain it. This is what it looks like when you're capable of explaining something.
Yes. Anyways, 2144, again, it's a failure because they didn't make enough money. It's about selling your book for less than you can demand. That's another thing, is that one of the things that's making Tim and Mark's book sell, they're selling more to more people than pretty much everyone in Comicsgate, sometimes more than everyone in Comicsgate combined, is that their books are only $10. Or you could just buy a digital version, which most people don't do, because it's $5 for the digital version, or it's just $10 for the physical version. And then, plus shipping, but the shipping's only like $5. And Tim and Mark have been doing this for so long and so well, they completely understand. They basically have a fulfillment company now to ship comics. So they fucking have that completely nailed down. They know how to do it better, again, than pretty much everyone else in comics, because they have that set organization And that's fucking great. And it goes to show that's why they're selling to more people. Whereas people like Liam Gray sell to less, but they try to just charge more. That's why Liam Gray's trying to say you should sell your book for more. It's a mistake, because it means if it's not a mistake, that means he actually made the mistake, and then he's fucked, which of course he is. At 22 minutes, Liam likes sexy ladies and laying down on top of a hot broad as much as anyone else, but it ain't enough, which is of course missing the point that everyone likes the Kamen America books because of the story.
But for him, it's got to be that she's got to be unconscious first.
At 22:30, Liam wants a strong man on the cover. Strong men on covers attract a bigger audience than pretty girls.
He's gay.
True.
He's gay.
That's what he meant by not enough.
Yeah. At 22:40, Liam says that everyone wants to be saved by strong men and nobody wants to be saved by a woman. It's coded into DNA.
Again,
he's gay.
Claim. He's gay, but also that's a big claim that kind of needs some backing up that he doesn't do, because this is also going against decades and decades of fucking comic book continuity and sales tactics.
If there is proof that you can be genetically gay, though, this would be it.
Right? Yes, genetic proof that gay isn't just caused
to be a homosexual.
It's not just being caused by being molested as a kid.
Yeah, and also, again, this isn't Liam's opinion. This is the opinion of people that Liam worships. 23 minutes. Liam will make more money than they do because he is featuring sexy men. That's kind of weird to say, but also now objectively proven false too. It was actually objectively proven false.
No, that's right.
Says it, which is another thing that we that people who used to be in Comicsgate or whatever came to us to admit, is that we were right about Comicsgate's arguments before Comicsgate even made the arguments. People would be like, wow, you guys were right in 2018 about this thing that Comicsgate said in 2019 or 2020. And it's like, yeah, we just knew what they were going to say.
And they're predictable. They're predictable idiots. But
the people in the know, the people in the know that we're right. The people who don't know anything don't know that we're right.
Even if the fucking comic really had only made $10,000, they still ended up earning more from total sales of all their comics combined than Liam has.
Yeah.
If you take the two careers and you put them side by side,
if you take Liam loses, throw it in the garbage. Like Kamen America 2 never existed. All the other books that they made still outsold. Not only Liam, but most of the people in Comicsgate combined. 23:44, he accuses Tim and Mark of writing for the alt-right, sabotaging other
people. So much for that bullshit about Comicsgate being a safe haven for conservative voices.
Again, he got that from Ethan Van Sciver saying that, the cherries are Nazis, and Ethan also even said that
the leftist tactic. Yes, SJW, pure SJW tactic.
That's Comicsgate revealing their SJW bona fides.
The mask slipping, the mask peeling off of their sweaty ass fat faces.
Gay fat face.
Homosexual fat faces.
KY jellied faces of the faggots, the noted and, in fact, in many cases, confirmed homosexuals in Comicsgate. But also sabotaging other people's careers. That's something that Ethan Van Sciver specifically accused people of when they fucking, had
and
no
very specifically aren't guilty of.
Yeah.
Tim and Mark never did anything like that. And you notice that he doesn't try to back that claim up either.
Whereas Comicsgate actually not only has done that, but Liam Gray himself, by the fact that he false flagged us. The thing is that he
backed it up himself.
He also false flagged us last year and the year before that too.
He backs up that own claim himself that we're making for him because he does it and then he brags about it. We don't even need to back up the claim. He backs up the claim himself
because the thing is
he does it.
We're not only other creators as well, but we're actually still even more successful creators than most people in Comicsgate, including Liam, because we've released 2 books. We've not only released 2 books, but physically, and they've gotten to backers and customers, whereas nobody has gotten a single book from Liam Gray so far. And that's going to stay true until he actually gets a book out. Once he gets a book out, then we can say, okay, now you've actually released a book. We, on the other hand, have not only released 2 books, but then also had a third book, really a third story in the Walmart 3 book, which,
outproduced,
also went to store shelves. So yeah, not only outproduced, but getting out there in a wider avenue
and more real profit. That's actually one of the things.
And shipping worldwide. Our books ship worldwide too, by the way.
He's technically pulled in more money from his campaign, but that is just for a campaign to basically profit on starting a book.
Yeah, that's profit.
Actually profited on a completed project, which
the book's not out. Unless the book is out, you aren't a comic creator. You'll never be a comic creator unless you actually get the book in somebody's hands.
But I mean, Xenotype was dumped. He dumped that like a sack of garbage on the internet for free.
But yeah, that's the thing, is that it's not just Liam directly who has sabotaged other people's careers through direct action, but again, behind the scenes at the top, most of the people who left Comicsgate or were forced out or whatever know objectively that Comicsgate itself sabotaged other people's careers, usually the careers of other people in its own movement. And that's not our opinion. That's not our analysis or observation. That's objectively, factually proven already. That's like, the people who can't admit it are the people who are not smart enough to observe it. Like, you can show them evidence. That's the thing about Comicsgate. You could take all the evidence in the world, put it right in their faces. They're not going to be smart enough to even process it. So evidence at that point doesn't even matter. But at the same time, it's also has been presented. And the people at the top know it. The people at the top are like, yeah, fucking Comicsgate has attacked other people's careers, including ours. But also they've admitted that they want to attack and destroy other careers of like the SJWs and that kind of thing, which shows that they want to sabotage other people's careers. The movement of Comicsgate has openly admitted that, but then they also aren't honest enough to stick to that. A lot of them back off if you actually question them, which is the exact genetic marker of a dishonest a person who will always be dishonest genetically.
One other important thing, another important factor on them sabotaging people's careers is, they don't have to sabotage many in order to basically scare other people off from even trying.
Yeah. Other people see, like, by example, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to make a comic. I've seen other people who are like, you know what, I'm not going to make comics then if I have to put up.
We've heard from people straight up saying that it's like, I've seen what's happening to people because of Comicsgate, and I'm not going to take my chances.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, they admit that to us. They come to us and they're like, yeah, I saw that. I'm not going to get bothered. I'm not going to bother with this. Also, on top of that is all the people who were in the comments section for EVS's fucking Cyberfrog book saying, I will never donate to another comic book Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign.
Red Rooster too. Red Rooster, but also
yes.
Brutus and some of the other Comicsgate backed comics. A lot of people were like, I want a refund. I'm never backing another fucking crowdfunding comic again.
Yeah, I'm never falling for this again. But the key thing is basically that the well is poisoned.
And that's the thing is, Ethan Van Sciver saw that and didn't care until people like us, or people who follow us, started screen capping them and posting them in public to make fun of Ethan. All of a sudden, he started fucking feeling the pressure. But then after that, his book was still like about half a year late. And that was, of course, also after we made fun of him live on stream for his book not being finished, which it still wasn't, by the way, when he
still technically isn't. He promised, like, what was it, 80 pages or something?
It wasn't even, it was only like 40. He just padded out the rest with a bunch of concept art from when he was a teenager, getting molested by that guy from Phoenix, Arizona, I believe it was, where Ethan Van Sciver actually publicly admitted that that a guy actually like chained him up. He said literally chained him to a desk to make a comic book, but also like flew him halfway across the country to be away from his family. And it's very obvious that he was having gay sex with that guy.
Consensual gay sex.
Not an observation, but like objective analysis. It's like fucking, if you've ever known a person who fucking like got raped or was molested or whatever, that's the story of it. It's so blatant that you'd have to be a complete.
Although in this case, the rape was being forced to make a comic.
Yeah.
Forced
to make a comic. But you could tell also they like he probably wasn't molested. I'm sure it was completely consensual, but it was with a guy.
It was consensual, but it was also disgusting.
But all the evidence is there. So it's like, you know, it's blatant to everyone who knows it. But to the lesser people, the Untermensch, who are incapable of understanding it, they're not going to be able to admit to it. Let's see. 2410, he claims political activists will repeatedly buy the book. That didn't happen. He calls the content of the book shameful. That's anger.
It sounds like a Karen. It's absolutely a Karen. It's a womanly fucking statement.
Yeah, that's an effeminate statement. That's an effeminate complaint. But again, not anything out of the ordinary. Not for Liam, but for the movement he came from. There was a lot of effeminate complaints. Pretty much all of them, in fact, were like every single complaint that they made was in some way bitch made, effeminate, whiny, faggoty.
Soy fueled.
Yeah. Soy boy, not even soy boys, because it implies boys, implies men, males even.
soy girl.
See, and this is the thing. This is just Liam babbling and babbling and babbling without having.
He has no argument here. In particular,
he doesn't have anything different to say either. Like we've been saying, like 25,000 different things in just the stream alone. But Liam is just saying the same one
Everything
thing.
We say is true. Everything we say, we back up.
Yes. Or, you know, other people, you know, who have seen behind the scenes know that we're not just speculating or running off at the mouth. It's stuff that they've personally seen. In fact, some of them, they've personally seen it and were shocked that we knew about it without us having been there. They're like, how did you guys even know about this? And it's like, it's just common fucking human behavior. They're like, wow, because I saw this directly. I saw like Ethan Van Sciver screaming at people, or I was in a like a voice chat where Ethan Van Sciver just started screaming at people, and he was so fucking pissed off about this. And it's like, yeah, it's just, you know, completely predictable behavior. It's just ordinary behavior. And we've been like fucking eyebrow deep in studying this behavior for decades now.
We could have just guessed this shit.
Literally nobody on the planet knows about this kind of stuff better than we do, just from having lived it for fucking, you know, since the beginning. Basically, since we first got on the internet.
Yeah, observed it. Other people doing it to us.
Yeah, or around us. Or I remember at the very beginning, I was even sort of a part of it to a tiny degree. But then also, you know, I got very quickly not only alienated, but as by the nature of all hug boxes, is that the hug box will always turn on its own members, which we are the first people to ever document in history.
It's what became known as a purity spiral.
Yes, we're the first people to ever point that out in the history of the internet or the human race, actually, which is what makes us not only genetically and morally superior, but it's the reason why all of your favorite YouTubers actually follow us and subscribe to us.
It improved our genetics. It went into the genetic code.
Yes. It tuned up our genetic code to make it that much more superior. Didn't even know that was possible, but it is. Anyways, let's see. He attacks the book. He says the content of the book is shameful, which again, he doesn't say. Like, if the content of the book was shameful, you'd be able to point to a specific part and say, here's the part that's shameful.
Well, that would involve him actually reviewing the book.
That's what critical analysis is pointing to the specific part, at least pointing to it and saying
he really
this is shameful. But he doesn't do that.
Siskel and Ebert reviewed the movies that they were reviewing based on the trailers they showed on their show.
Mm.
Does he really think that? Is he really that stupid? Is Comicsgate really that stupid?
Well, yeah.
Basically. But that's the thing, is he's not reviewing the book.
Yeah, he's reviewing their Indiegogo page.
Siskel and Ebert didn't just play the trailer and then talk about the movie based on the trailer. They went and saw the movie.
Yeah. Even if they were wrong about the movie, they at least watched the movie. Usually took
their opinion was based on the movie they watched, the entire movie they watched, not a trailer.
Yes. 2430. He attacks the book as a vanity project. See, now he's just using. He
doesn't even know. Yeah, buzzwords. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like a child wandering through the woods.
Yes, to wandering into the middle of the movie and asking what's happening. The thing is, though, this is something that anime fans also have been known. We were the first people to ever point this out.
Weeaboos. Yeah. Before they were even called weeaboos. We pointed this shit out.
We pointed out that anime fans would hear like critical analysis words about something and then just repeat it without any context or meaning. They would just
thinking that they knew. They thought they knew. They don't.
They wouldn't know. Like they would hear the word pretentious and they would say it to something that wasn't pretentious. But if somebody said, they would say that because somebody said that about anime. In fact,
a weeaboo who was bitter that somebody had called the Ghost in the Shell movie pretentious, or then go and say that Goodfellas was pretentious.
Yes. That's what anime fans, we had seen anime fans do that regularly. And we might be partially responsible for some of the specific words that anime fans use. And we're definitely way back for a lot of the things that Comicsgate says, because a lot of a lot of people in Comicsgate may not watch our videos, but the people at the top of Comicsgate, the core, the inner core of the Hug Box, do watch our channels obsessively. In fact,
probably every single video we ever post, and they're still following us now.
By their friends in real life, people who know like the inner circle in real life, but also we've seen, like I saw fucking Mike S. Miller and John Malin, their actual accounts, subscribed to our channel multiple times. In fact, they would subscribe and then they would actually resubscribe, which we started calling the Mike S. Miller or the John Malin. Is make sure to subscribe, unsubscribe, and resubscribe. That we did that because they would actually do that.
We said that originally, though, as a joke. Then they actually started doing it like they're that dumb.
They did it
unironically. Brainless.
Why would they do that? But also, they're bad artists too.
This comment is a great, just a perfect thing. This one is perfect. Just that it was being done as a hobby. Apparently, doing anything as a hobby is wrong. But also, this guy doing something as a hobby just beat you. How do you lose to somebody as a hobbyist?
By their admission, people like Ethan Van Sciver or Liam Gray or anyone who thinks that they're a professional will never be good at making never be as good at making comics as just a hobbyist. A hobbyist outdid you at your own medium, at your own job. That goes to show how bad people who like comics are at making comics. And well, Ethan Van Sciver publicly said, though, that he was tired of making comics. It was a couple of years ago. He did a stream where he said he hated comics. He didn't like comics anymore, and he was tired of doing them. But the thing is also that the fans, of course, are the most genetically inferior of all. So it's the fans who really, they have no taste and they have no talent. So when they try to make their own comics, you see some of the worst content ever made. But a hobbyist, somebody who just does it as a hobby, they're always going to be better because they're actually doing it out of legitimate love and passion for it.
Yeah, doing something as a hobby means you actually enjoy it to begin with.
Mm-hmm. He claims
but also Tim Lim is more of a professional.
Tim's still, he's a professional artist, and he has been for longer than almost every single person who has ever been in Comicsgate, sometimes combined even. He claims that Tim is either losing massive amounts of money, or paying.
Which they can't prove.
Artists. He does the art himself.
Also can't prove this either. This is just paying slave wages. This is the best part. Paying slave wages to its artists. Tim Lim's the artist. The end. Yeah, are you fucking retard? Liam, are you retarded? I guess I'm going to have to assume you are.
Yeah, like to not even understand that it's obvious Tim is doing all the art himself. In fact, even doing the coloring himself, which is pretty impressive. And the coloring is like, it's nice, but it's also like not so shaded, super shaded and shiny and flashy and fucking overdone. It's just some nice, simple, straightforward coloring that works very well. That's all you need to tell the story.
There's no getting around that. The art looks good. It's
But
good.
also
it's
more
pleasing to the eye.
He's accused. This is Liam, as Comicsgate itself always did, accusing others of what they themselves are guilty of. Because who is it?
Guilty.
Who is it that's paying slave wages or stealing from their creators? It's Comicsgate. People in Comicsgate have openly stolen money from like co-creators.
That's old news.
People in Comicsgate not only they supported Nasser's money being stolen by Donald DeLay, but when asked to asked on the morality of it, Comicsgate didn't care about the morality. They supported the theft.
That's the evidence too.
Celebrated the theft, admitted it was theft, and said, "Yes, I'm glad for this." Ethan Van Sciver himself even said, "I hope that Donald never pays you, Nasser," before it turned out that Nasser was planning a lawsuit, and all of a sudden Ethan Van Sciver's story changed, and it was like, Nasser should be paid. All of us, it was literally overnight when he realized that there could be legal
instant spinelessness, just
for not only supporting theft but for being directly complicit in it.
And the evidence supports this.
And was.
This is not just us sitting around here making accusations like Liam is doing.
Yeah.
The evidence supports it. We're simply reporting the evidence.
The evidence has always supported everything we've said about Comicsgate, without any exception, and even other people in Comicsgate were forced to admit that we were right all along about it, all along, and then currently to this day too. There's even more. There's even more of that people have no clue about. It goes even deeper that we haven't even talked about, and maybe soon, like in a week or so, we might do a stream where we'll get a little more into that.
I'm wondering if we should actually cut it off here. It's almost 2.5 hours.
Well, I'm just going to keep going until the entire post is done.
How long is that post?
We're not even halfway through it. We're at the 24-minute mark.
There's so much bullshit.
52 minutes.
So much bullshit that we have to go through.
So many lies. I guess you could say it's a lot to unpack. He claims that Tim is either losing massive amounts of money or paying slave wages. Yeah, but both of those, not just false, but
abject lies,
quantifiably false.
In fact, you could call it defamation.
Yes. But it's strange that how Comicsgate doesn't, like, even the people who don't like Liam anymore don't even call him out on that. It takes somebody like us, the people who were there first and saying the truth first, that Comicsgate as a movement was afraid to fucking even listen to or admit to. But the top people, they listened to us and admitted we're right, and came to us and said, yeah, you guys were completely right about that stuff going on behind the scenes that nobody else in Comicsgate's even aware of. One of the other things, though, is he suggests that some art that features anti-Comicsgate characters may have been done for free.
Which
that
characters?
Is the first thing that's actually true. The anti-Comicsgate characters,
technically for free, if you consider the fact that the artist himself, Tim Lim, drew this without having taken money for it first.
Yeah. That's when it comes to that, there's like Vicky is a character in the comic, but probably not really like physically based on the real life Vicky, but just has the name Vicky. Could have been a coincidence too, but it's something that Tim and Mark don't really have any problem with that coincidence. I guess it's not a pure coincidence. But as far as anti-Comicsgate characters, if he's referring to Thomas and Laylee, then in that case, yes, those were just put in. I didn't pay him. He just put those in because Tim and Mark like our channel, because we're the only people who ever told the truth.
Nobody seems to like Liam's channel, except
people
as a
only
goof.
like Liam's channel in an ironic way to
joke,
laugh at his expense.
He's clown shoes.
Here, 2548, he calls Kamen America 2 criminal in that Liam claims the project can't be done based on the money raised for the project. Liam is making another threat and also hilariously unaware that it's a comic that people already have from a previous successful campaign that made a ton of money.
That's the thing.
Comicsgate is so stupid they're not aware of facts.
He's incredibly stupid, but he's apparently so stupid he's reviewing a comic that's already out and claiming that it can't come out.
Yes. That is Comicsgate thinking. That's the nature of Comicsgate thinking. That's how they think, is they have none of the facts and then they say something retarded and then the facts come out and they get fucking embarrassed.
He's so stupid that if you're going to harvest his organs, when China comes down south to harvest his organs, they're just going to have to throw him in an incinerator.
His embarrassingly short organs. And we're not tall ourselves, but fucking A, we're probably like giants compared to Liam Gray.
Well, we're fucking
him on the beach there. He's like fucking 3 feet tall.
Our fucking organs might be fucking reduced as a result of actual hardship and not just being an unbelievably lazy fat moron.
Yeah, that's true, and we don't even like talking about that too much. But we've definitely there's a lot of people out there who have had incredibly easy lives who want to whine about how they've had difficult lives. Really, the only people who's even come close to that is us. And still, we're better at making comics and actually getting the comics out there and people getting them.
We've experienced real hardship. He's never experienced a single moment of hardship, except for hardship that he brought on himself for being such a dipshit.
26.
He brought it all on himself, and he deserves it. He deserves to suffer more.
He
probably never will.
He deserved abuse as a child because he was bad. The same way Rethan did.
He's a bad person. He's barely a person.
That's why his dad beat him with a belt, because he was a bad child. He's bad at being a person.
But as a person, he deserves everything he gets.
Plus, he's gay, so
he's also gay. He's also got that. He's got 2 strikes against him.
How much worse can things get? Anyways, 26 minutes. He suggests that artists, I think, are being exploited by Tim Lim, which who the fuck even knows what that means? Because
which again, back it up.
Yeah, exactly. Prove it.
Which artists?
That's our challenge, not to Liam Gray. That was always for years now, literally years, and Tim and Mark can back this up too. That was always our challenge to all of Comicsgate, and Comicsgate always backed down or failed without exception.
They fucking face planted.
Yes. He suggests that they are dishonest. Apparently, I don't know if he means Tim Lim or the artists being exploited by Tim Lim. He suggests they are dishonest and have no integrity. He calls the book embarrassing. It lacks substance, story, and superheroes. Again, he didn't read the fucking book. Liam Gray is reviewing the book without reading it.
Wow, how does it lack superheroes when it's got superheroes? He
27 minutes. It's just a red, white, and blue fuck bunny, which
sounds like it doesn't sound very pro-American to me. He said he's pro-American. That doesn't sound pro-American. Sounds like another line. He's contradicting himself.
Liam Gray is an anti-American by this behavior. Just by what he's saying here, Liam Gray is openly anti-American. First of all,
he lives in a shitty
which
country,
is why he's never lived here. He pretends
Australia is a shithole.
He's not. Yeah, hasn't.
Australia is a failed state.
Yes. Because of people like Liam Gray. Liam Gray is directly responsible for that kind of behavior.
Fucking cartoon voice fucking retard. Why does he talk like a cartoon character?
No, that's just how Australians talk.
That's stupid. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. That would make them all idiots.
You got a point there. You got a point there. Here, 2814, he accuses them of not putting their talent first, which...
How do you not do that when you make a comic book?
What the other shit he said.
They made a comic book. So how do you not put talent first and make a comic book?
Yeah, Liam, you still haven't finished. You haven't released your comic. You haven't finished your comic. You don't have a comic out. So you can't tell anyone who's putting their talent first or not. You don't have a comic out. We have a comic out. We have multiple comics out there.
So we're more proven. We are more proven as creators than he is.
Yes. And probably always will be, because I don't think Liam's right. He's going to release Xenotype. If he does, it's not a good comic anyway. So.
He's a disgrace.
we've actually read it. In fact,
disgraced manga creator, mangaka.
But
He's not a mangaka either. He's a fucking comic maker.
The entire reason
he's not a comic maker
is because of our review. If it wasn't for our review, Ethan Van Sciver would still be personal friends with Liam Gray, as he had been for years before this.
That's what started this. That's what fucking kicked it all off. It was us.
He accused them of not putting the channel first. 2840. Liam goes to the chat. Ethan Van Sciver is metaphorically jacking himself off.
And literally.
The surprise.
And literally. He's metaphorically jacking himself off. He is literally jacking off another guy.
2 gay porn.
Fucking two dudes at once.
Possibly to pornography that he made of his own son when they went to the Bohemian Grove to have his children harvested for adrenochrome. But you know me, I don't like to judge. Anyways,
I judge, but I don't like to.
Yeah, I judge just because sometimes I have to. I mean, hey, what can you do? 2907. The chat suggests that Ethan called KA2 gay in the chat. That's the thing, is that Ethan,
it's about fucking hot girls.
We openly called that Ethan, because of the success of Kamen America 2, Ethan was going to try to act that fake gracious that he does. That people who know Ethan Van Sciver in real life, people who have had personal real life friendships and interactions with Ethan Van Sciver behind the scenes, know that Ethan will often, like, falsely in public do the public relations that scam of pretending
glad handing,
falsely gracious about something that in private he's fucking furious about. People have seen him screaming fits, melting down.
Very childish.
Public will act like he's in favor. He's like, "Oh, it's Kamen America 2 is really good." And then in private, he's screaming about how much he hates Tim and Mark.
He's very weak.
He's so weak, it's laughable.
His masculinity amounts to nothing.
Yes. 2957, the big reveal happens. Liam has not been looking at the right numbers for Kamen America. He got the financials of it completely wrong. This is the point where Liam should go out behind the house and blow his brains out.
Well, no, I can't say that. He should have blown his brains out years before this point.
Not in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, and then not.
And then not. He should be fucking the stupid Marky Post haircut. She should be getting raped in the Lifetime movie, and then not. At half hour and 30 minutes exactly on the dot.
Way too long. This fucking
going on
video
for way
is
too
just
long.
going on way too long.
Even our stream about it's going on way too long.
Our stream is so packed full of real truth and information, though.
Chock full of truth, nuclear rape.
I would try and calculate how long it would take Liam to get this far, to say this much truth in his fucking streams. But if you combine them all, it still won't reach that point.
Yeah. Every single second of everyone in Comicsgate, all of their streams combined would never reach even like 10%.
And they're doing 6-hour streams a day.
Yes, exactly. You combine all of them over the past 3 or 4 years, they still don't even come close to the fucking crumb of truth that we're constantly just spraying.
To a half hour of one of our shows.
Just spraying like piss cum.
Just on accident, they haven't spoken as much truth.
Yes. At 30 minutes in, he accuses Nasser of targeting the children of other creators, which never happened. But again, he's getting that from Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan Van Sciver would regularly promote people.
Again, that's defamation, though.
What do you call it? Lying about stuff like that.
What do you call this when you just make up an extremely obvious lie about somebody in an attempt to harm their career?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the name for that is defamation.
Is there a moral problem? Is that morally incorrect in any way? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. The rest of you don't. 3157, quote, maybe everything I've said is wrong.
Drop the maybe. Drop the maybe.
Yeah, drop the maybe. Faggot. 32 minutes, 19 seconds. He accuses him again of stealing from Cutie Honey.
He's dead wrong on that. I mean, it's Sailor Moon. If he had said stealing from Sailor Moon, you might be able to fucking say something like, well, you know, it's
you could make more of a case.
Magical girl fucking
even
shit.
That is obviously just, there's like sort of fun references. There's references with a twist, like that one time
that's the point.
She even says, I want to work on our transformation sequence, and then she goes to prove the justice of our culture, which is a reference to the Ghostbusters video game for the NES, but at the same time it's also kind of reminiscent of like a Sailor Moon fucking catchphrase or something.
She's even doing, I think, a Sailor Moon pose, or there's also in particular
the
embarrassing video, which he doesn't even mention in his fucking review because it's in the actual comic and not the fucking Kickstarter page, but she's doing the fucking opening song to Sailor Moon. That's in there. Yeah. He straight up doesn't mention it because he's not actually reading or reviewing the comic.
Yeah, he doesn't have the comic. He's never read it. He doesn't even know what happens in the comic. He's just saying things. He's saying words.
He's scrambling for anything to fucking
as a
throw cover for his
he got that from them.
Stupid failure as a fucking his entire video. He's got no other reason to exist. He's not making comics. All he makes are these fucking videos.
Well, he
has to fucking private all of them
yet. Anyways, 34 minutes. Oh wait, no. 33:15. Liam says maybe he should think about charging less, but no, it's not a good idea. So this is Liam like fucking
contradicting himself in a single sentence.
Rape facts. The phrase that we invented, rape facts, which are when facts are so factual that they rape you, but not of your body, of your soul.
His asshole is bleeding.
Yes, but that's just an average day. And also, his asshole's bleeding, and also he's upset about what the facts that he just found out that prove him wrong objectively and quantifiably. In many cases, it's not just he got proven wrong about a thing. He got proven wrong like 500 times before he opened his mouth and then publicly on stream, which is why everyone is just having a good long laugh at Liam Gray right now. But the thing is, Liam Gray's behavior that everyone's laughing at is still simultaneously the exact same stuff that all of Comicsgate had also done. Liam is just doing this because he saw other people in Comicsgate doing it. So he's just trying to do that too. But it's also kind of a genetic thing. It's like a magnet where Comicsgate pulled in all the dishonest people who can't make an argument for shit and never could and always get proven wrong. So if you were in Comicsgate, you are a person who gets proven wrong, can't make arguments, just makes random statements, repeats things, parrots shit from us mostly, and then gets angry when you get proven wrong, which Liam not only did, but had a giant fucking meltdown where he streamed for like 16 hours after this even.
Yeah, that's again another really important factor. He streamed for 16 hours. Like fucking Empty Hero.
Notice that we never do that, by the way, because we never get proven wrong. Because we're right all the time
too. And it's like, that's a pretty long stream. But wow, 16 fucking hours, and it's not even of a video game.
That means you don't have a life and you don't actually have any talent in anything. Is that if your
life doesn't have a mind?
You don't have a soul, in fact. But you know, that's harder to quantify. I'm not going to start quantifying how people don't have a soul, but I probably could.
He doesn't.
If you paid me to, I could probably objectively measure the soul, and I could find where it's deficient in people.
It would be the size of his dick. He doesn't have one.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick. Let's see. Liam says he charged less. All right, 34 minutes. He says it can't be true that there's more of a demand for a comic on Kickstarter than Indiegogo, which is not only hilariously fucking quantified, but had been many years ago. And in fact, we did it back in 2014 before Comicsgate and Ethan Van Sciver ever even thought about doing this shit.
Basically, what he's saying is that it can't be true that the truth is true.
He's not true.
That's literally what he just said. Yes, the truth isn't true. According to him,
that is Comicsgate to a T. Is the truth can't be true? No, this can't be true because I don't want it to be. That's Comicsgate.
Bad news, Comicsgate. It's true.
Yes. 3450. He suggests that Kickstarter may be hiding the truth about the real numbers. Impossible.
Yeah, sure. They probably specifically changed. They hacked his router so that the numbers would show up differently when he loaded the web page to see
I can't believe Anonymous strikes again.
It's amazing. That is dastardly.
Bastardly.
He's so fucking dumb.
But again, it's not behavior that's out of the ordinary for his collective.
I'm not saying this in surprise. I just want people to realize that I'm noticing. I know there's a war on noticing. I'm noticing.
The war against noticing, as it's been called by people like Jim Goad or Steve Saylor. 3529, he still only made $66,000.
Wait, that's twice as much as Liam Gray has made in his entire career. Yes. And this is only one campaign.
Just one book. One campaign for one book. That's not even counting the second campaign, which now made another $10,000. So that's $76,000 for just one book.
That's 30. That's 46.
That's growing.
$46,000 too. That's $46,000 more than Liam has made in his entire career.
That's natural growth, which is something that Liam can't say about his dick because he's impotent, both sexually and intellectually.
He's got a corn nut. He's got a clit. He's not even a guy. He's an AIDS germ they got off a slide.
Liam brags about how much he has made per customer, which again is like, I scammed customers out of this expensive bullshit, which they still don't have, by the way.
This is something he needs to fucking stay quiet about.
Yes, he needs to shut up about how he made more from each customer, but those customers don't have anything yet. The customers don't have the book.
First off,
anything. Whereas,
secondly,
Jim and Mark, their books are out there already. Just this one. Kamen America 2 is out there. Not even Cyber Frog 2 is out yet. And when it comes out, it will suck because the first one sucked. Even Ethan Van Sciver's own fans were saying, yeah, this book is pretty disappointing. Fucking Cyber Frog 1 is not really interesting. There's no story. There's that Ethan is obviously not a good writer. He doesn't have any editor. He doesn't have anyone
to tell people about
pace in his stories.
Again, though, you would think they would wait and see before you fucking back it. That's the funniest part is that
you reward merit, but you can't reward merit by paying for a book that you didn't read.
Essentially, fucking Ethan Van Sciver's comics book. Fucking Cyber Frog comic is kind of like the Holocaust.
It never
in that it's just all you can do is try to run away from it. You can run away from it, or you can get burned.
Destiny.
Ethan is going to load you into the Holocaustor and ride you into a furnace.
Turbo lifts that go directly into the incinerator. Can you imagine such a thing? Anyways, back to that. He has given up all his idealism, and the naked grift of what Liam is doing is exposed. It's not about building readers or selling to kids. It's all about putting money in Liam's pocket. And
that's a brilliant idea. You want to know the best idea for making money is trying to scam people once and then running off with the money before anyone's found out you've done anything.
Yeah, instead of even having a second book that people will buy.
Even better is that he's still trying to pretend like he didn't scam the people he scammed.
Yeah, because if it wasn't a scam, people would have the book already. People would just, it's like, here's the book. I got it out to people.
You can't even call him a clever con artist. He's an incredibly stupid con artist. But a real con artist wouldn't even be this dumb. You wouldn't even pull this.
At 37 minutes, the chat is full of people calling him out for being wrong, which is
his own audience.
But by this point, people had linked me to this stream 2 or 3 times now, being like, "Oh, he's fucking losing his shit. He's saying all this shit."
It was even getting to us while he was still live.
Yes. 38 minutes War Campaign comes in to help Liam cope, which is pretty much all.
Wow.
Just
War Campaign. I thought they were supposed to be like turning against Comicsgate now because they've been burned. I guess War Campaign is still full of fucking retarded, fucking degenerate faggots,
but also dishonest
losers,
like
the biggest losers of all.
If War Campaign is coming in to take Liam's side, it proves that is objective proof right there that War Campaign is inherently a movement for dishonest people, and there is no counter argument for that because the case is now closed. We won that argument again, which even Ethan Van Sciver.
It was already closed before, but once again,
we had already proven that
fucking morons who
ago.
Keep missing the point, missing the target. There it is, right there again. Plain as day.
Proven objectively again.
We didn't do it either. You'll blame us, but we didn't do this. This is them. This is them themselves doing this to themselves and other people noticing it and telling us about it.
The war against noticing. 38. It sounds like Liam's starting to lose it here. 38-27. Liam has a passive-aggressive tantrum. He shits on the art and the story of KA2, which is still
that's all he's been doing.
Better than his comics.
This is fucking 38-27 of him doing that before. Now he's just doing more of that.
Yeah,
he has no other tactics. He has no other things.
It's him doubling down on being objectively, quantifiably incorrect, basically, which is
because that's what happens when you have no integrity. When you have no integrity and no principles.
Yeah. But he again, Liam came from a place that had no integrity or principles. So almost you can't blame him, but at the same time you can. Because
you can't blame him, but at the same time, if you couldn't blame him, he'd be obliterated off the face of the earth.
They didn't train him to have no integrity or principles. Everyone in Comicsgate genetically already came in with no integrity or principles and were attracted to a movement without integrity or principles. That's why they joined Comicsgate.
Again, if they're like a lawnmower, this is the setting.
That's the people who know, the people who actually know what Comicsgate is. The people in the know agree with us.
They're at maximum. They're at maximum emergency low power.
Mm-hmm.
They're low energy, soft dick energy,
and low information voters too. Throat's getting scratchy. Let's see. He shits on the art and story, which he doesn't know what the art or story
again. All he's been able to see is the art, and it's just examples from the fucking store page.
It's examples, and also some of the cool commissions that they got, like from Cafun, who is definitely a better artist than. And I hate to admit this, Cafun, however you may pronounce that, is a better artist than Tim Lim, even. And
we're talking about high standards,
because I'm sure Tim Lim would say, yeah, that guy's definitely better. But at pinups, though, like fucking Tim Lim is a great comic artist.
Tim Lim does whole comics.
Yeah, Tim Lim does the entire comic though, and his fucking art is really good and it's solid. And it gets more importantly though, which most people don't even understand, even in Comicsgate, have zero understanding of this. But the art in Tim Lim's comics does the only important thing that art should do is get the story across, let the reader know what
a narrative flow from panel to panel, page to page.
Yeah, that's all it should. The art can suck fucking horribly. Tim Lim's art is really good. I only say Cafun's art is better because Cafun has like just all this ridiculous, crazy amount of detail. And again, does pinups. It's easier when you put like all the focus into a single image instead of having to do like five different images with backgrounds in an entire.
I don't know which one was that, because it was that the one in the pool.
Well, no, Cafun actually did like a shitload of art. Like Tim kept going back to him because the art's so fucking good. And
I don't know which one
in the pool was be in the calendar, which I think we should be getting.
All I know is that Liam was once overheard saying to Ethan, "This is a fine clit hood you've gotten us into."
Oh, spread your legs and I'll start lapping. I only eat pussy pie.
Your breath smells like a California roll. Why would Ethan say that to Liam?
What? I don't know. Because they're gay? Oh, yeah. Because they're gay.
They're so gay that they're lesbians.
Their asses hurt. Let's see. Again, from 3827, Liam then says that other people should not do what they did because it's obviously wrong when they did, even though they made money, which is Liam like, that's the dictionary definition of cognitive dissonance right there. Which
he's got the brain problems. He's got the headaches are coming in full strength.
The headaches are coming back, and they're coming back hard. It's just hard AF. AF. 3850 Furious Cope.
I mean, you could have named the fucking video that, and then you could have just ended it there.
Yes.
Furious Cope, the end.
0 seconds, 0 minutes, 0D, 0 seconds long. That's all you need. Maximum over cope. He's snorting the cope.
He's firing rails of cope. Doing rails, crying about his bad life.
Like he's some kind of co-op or private detective.
Like he's some kind of Guyver.
3850 though, Furious Cope. It's how dare Liam speak his opinion now rather than Liam being totally wrong. Well, not just totally wrong, but objectively quantifiably wrong.
Beyond totally wrong. It's like 115% wrong.
It's a new undiscovered level of wrong, but then again, it's also completely average for comics.
It's undiscovered to human scientists. I know never seen before to human eyes.
I know a lot of people will also be trying to cope about Liam said he's not Comicsgate. We know better. And
he said he's Comicsgate.
You don't have to be in Comicsgate.
He said he's Comicsgate
to have the Comicsgate mindset.
He also then also said that he was upset that he's being accused of not being Comicsgate. Yeah. So you people are going to have to really decide on this shit.
Yeah, you don't for that circle for yourselves. We don't need to. We understand.
It's not my problem. He said he's part of Comicsgate, and he acts like he's part of Comicsgate. A cunt.
He behaves the way people in Comicsgate behave, though, which is dishonestly, with zero integrity, and not being able to admit when they've been proven objectively wrong. They just get angry and start making excuses and rationalizations instead of fucking having to even rethink what they've ever thought. Continuing on, the way to prove to Liam that KA isn't a bad book is for tens or hundreds of other creators to put out similar books with the same success. This is fucking sheer insanity, of course.
Yeah, again, though, he's scrambling. He's he's just swinging wild. He's been rope-a-doped.
Yeah. In parentheses, Jim Tuner says, I'm sure he is strangling dogs at this point off camera.
All his dogs go to heaven.
Yes. And you can almost feel the suppressed rage in his voice. That's normal, though. Pretty much every time I listen to any of, like, I've only listened to 4 or 5 of Liam Gray's streams in my entire life, and 4 of them were in the past week. Every single one of them, you can hear suppressed rage in his voice. You can hear that, though, with Ethan Van Sciver, too, though.
Through his tears.
Through your tears. 3930, Liam goes to take a phone call. Dead air.
I'm surprised the windows in his room don't blow out.
Why would they blow out? From all the ass-puckering rage in the soulless lizard?
Yes.
Perhaps. Yes. 4020. 4020. Oh, no.
Yeah, this is the best part. Dead air.
Yeah.
The best part of his whole
finally, the good
video.
Part of the stream when he just leaves to take a call without any guests.
And
the thing is, when he has guests, none of his guests have anything to say either. They're just like, oh, the SJWs in comics are bad. It's just like, yeah, who gives a shit? Do you have anything interesting, anything original? Do you have your own thoughts about anything? The answer is always no.
By the way, also, football should be in scare quotes. He muted his microphone to go scream at a wall, right? Kick and punch his dogs, so you can't hear them whining.
That's actually probably true. Is he didn't leave to get make a phone call? He fucking left to scream and punch the walls. And family members, perhaps, a maternal family member specifically, but that's just speculation.
Just throwing plates against.
It's funny, which makes it okay. Oh wait, I mean that unironically.
He's throwing plates against the floor.
At 4020, Liam is not attacking other creators in doing this stream, which he was. He not only lied about them, but then
wow, he can't even go 5 minutes without just contradicting his own self with lies.
He's so dishonest, which is why he was in Comicsgate. He is working to save comics and, in quotes, the fate of things, which isn't a phrase.
It doesn't mean anything. Things don't have fates. There's no such thing. Not unless you're talking about
fate. There also is no fate, but what you make it.
I guess his the plaster on his walls have fates. If a thing has a fate, I guess you could say all the dishes that he's taking and just slamming against the ground while he's taking this phone call.
Yes. The vertebrae in his dog's neck have fates. And I believe they have met them in most cases.
They have come to a sudden end.
Speaking of sudden end, we're almost done with this. There's only like 10 more timestamps or something.
Holy fuck.
4051, Liam sees himself as being able to prove his point by making more money on his projects than Tim has. That will never happen.
Since he hasn't done that,
just obviously
since he already has failed at that, I guess we know where that goes.
Yes. So Liam admits that his own point is disproven, but we already knew that. We've been saying
again,
that.
I'm not the one saying that. He admitted to it. I'm simply pointing it out.
We proved that before Liam Gray ever made a comic, before Comicsgate ever existed.
Man, that was easy.
But yeah, shit. When you're us, it's as easy as being yourself.
It's fucking no skin off my knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, it's nice when things are this easy.
It's nice when somebody just
fucking is just this
owns
easy.
themselves. They just
one other thing. By the way, one other thing I think is very worth pointing out is that if like you say something and the other person gets mad, you win the argument. Usually, it's because you're objectively correct. Most people still don't even know that either, but we do. We've known that from decades of experience too. So
going on 3 decades now, it would actually be
hard way as well.
If we're going back to 1998, 3 decades now.
Yeah, that's something we proved back in the 1990s. That's how far ahead of all of you that we are, and that's why so many people who are in the know, the people who aren't in the know, the clueless loser Untermensch, they don't watch our channel because they're not smart enough to be in the know. The smart people, or the people who have seen behind the curtain, they had already been subscribed to our channel because they're in the know.
Liam is like a child.
In our opinion, that's their statement from their own words.
Liam is just a child groping in the dark.
Which, that's something that I'm sure Cisa would like. Let's see.
Especially groping.
He talks about selling more Xenotype and talks about doing a female superhero to show everyone how to do it right.
Wait, I thought he said female superheroes are inherently a bad thing.
Exactly. Which again,
should ever do it.
Oh, he doesn't know. Liam doesn't even know what he himself is talking about and saying. 4130 self-pity. He's going to do multiple books in 2021. He doesn't even have one book out yet still, and it's not going to be out until next year if it comes out at all. So that's obviously false.
When you're fucking talking through tears, I guess it's easy to see all your hopes and dreams just before they shatter.
Through your tears. At 4130 self-pity, which is normally that's part of the grief process, especially for Capecucks. He's going to do multiple books. 4217. He's not. 4217. Liam says he doesn't have small hands, which is proof that he does have small hands.
Wow. He's got small hands. That's gay. I guess that also means that he's a minuscule non-male.
Also, he's stupid.
He's lacking in masculinity, and that is proof. He just explained it himself.
So it's like some guys who are short are just because their families are short. Liam Gray is short because he's a faggot.
He is so lacking in masculinity that he actually just simply never got tall.
Yes.
He never got tall. He never even got short. He's a midget.
He didn't. He never even rose to the level of short.
He's a manlet. He's not. He doesn't even reach the level of manlet.
He's a manlet, not of body, but of soul.
but also of mind and kind of body, but not manly. That still requires the use of the word man, which would be.
But again,
doesn't belong there.
This is worth repeating and bears repeating for all eternity. This is why Liam Gray fit in so well with Comicsgate, to the point where Ethan Van Sciver personally funded him over 10 times on the same comic.
He's fucking lame.
Yeah, it's the behavior that everyone's pointing out in Liam is still the behavior in all of Comicsgate. People just are trying to sort of not admit that to themselves. But the people who are honest, the people who know, are able to admit that. That's why, again, we've always been our separate thing. We've been SWC before Comicsgate ever existed. We've always been the principles, and
we've been SWC
could never achieve.
We've been SWC before we were SWC either.
Yes,
it's just simply a convenient label that we're giving to what we've always been doing.
Yes, and that's the thing. We've always been our own thing. So there's no like movement or community or anything. It's just me and my brother, and anyone who wants to listen to the truth, who's not afraid of it, is completely free to listen. But a lot of people are afraid of it. That's why they get angry.
And I can always tell when their arguments are faulty. There's a difference between disagreement and a faulty argument. And typically 99% of all the arguments I hear against anything I say are faulty.
Well, they're not even arguments, though. Most of them are either ad hominem or fucking...
fallacies.
Yeah, there's some kind of fallacy. In fact, you could go to the actual fallacy chart, and every single time Comicsgate says something at all, you can actually go find the...
You could go down the list here.
Usually multiples at the same time.
This is basically fallacy after fallacy right here. It's just covering the chart over and over again.
This is what we're talking about. Is all of this stuff is what we've seen from the movement, not from Liam, from the entire movement. It's just being also displayed right here by Liam in one example here. 42-44, Liam is reaching to save himself. The stream is suddenly only about how it's a mistake to use sex appeal in place of good marketing, which is
that doesn't make sense.
Untrue too.
Yeah, sex appeal is absolutely part of good marketing. It's usually one of the biggest and most effective elements.
Jim Tuner says Liam is, of course, too stupid to tell the people that he is attacking do in fact do a lot of marketing beyond comics out in the real world. 44 minutes, Liam still understands nothing about manga production and assumes that every artist is producing every manga week after week alone.
But I also claim that fucking Tim Lim has like some entire team of artists working underneath him to make his comic.
But the thing is that manga artists do. They have assistants, and Liam doesn't understand. Liam thinks that manga artists are completely operating alone. We even talked about when we reviewed Delicious in Dungeon, we even mentioned that sidebar that says that the chick, Ryuko Kui or whatever the fuck her name is, that she, put on the sidebar looking for an assistant to do backgrounds for me.
There's also a Shield Hero
to this address.
Some of the fucking first things like the issue ending for Shield Hero would be like I think it was like a typesetter or something like that, who would put in their own little comment at the end of the thing, just about how much they hated this bitch who was lying about Shield Hero.
Well, I think that was that might have been the translator, but still.
No, I think that was translated.
So, that would be funny.
That was the actual fucking. It was like basically it was an assistant. It was somebody who was working with the author.
You're right. I think I do remember. You know what though? I'm not sure if we're right about that. But
again, go. Yeah, by all means, Liam, go and fucking find out for yourself and prove us wrong about that one.
But all it does is prove Liam Gray is wrong about how manga artists don't work alone.
We don't need to prove that.
A lot of assistants.
We already know he's wrong. Yes. After all, he said. In fact, if he fucking says it, it's like, he's wrong. Yeah. I don't know that much about the production of manga. I already know he's wrong about this. But now this is confirming it. This is writing it down in stone.
45 or 44, 45. Liam talks about the failure of webtoons, which webtoons probably hasn't failed. So
No, hold on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got some webtoons bookmarked.
Yeah, is the website Webtoons still up and hosting webcomics?
Dixon's Avalon. The series is currently unavailable at home.
Whoa.
Yeah, here's Webtoons. Lovebot new series. How to publish your story on Webtoons Canvas.
The Webtoons up.
Here's the website. Website's still here. I'm looking at it.
Then Liam Gray, once again, about yet another thing is objectively incorrect, and he doesn't know.
He fucked it up to begin with.
Yeah. In fact, Webtoons is doing fucking gangbusters.
Actually, yeah, here's
I know
Webtoons.
A lot of people most kids these days just read webcomics.
Webtoons Project Shade. This is still here. There's a lot of gay comics on Webtoons, but the point is that it's an art portal.
Well, that's another thing that Comicsgate would always do is if a publisher like Image published something that was by an SJW, they'd say, Image is failing. Image is falling apart. Image is fucking bombing. No, their comics aren't doing any good.
Meanwhile, Image is the number one seller.
Charts.
Image is still outselling fucking Spider-Man. Your dumb fucking Spider-Man cape shit.
Yeah, and it will be with other books. So they would just go into denial. And the thing is, that goes back to 2018. And we were the first people to ever point out that they were wrong. In fact, it was Captain Comics who was one of the people who also said that. And we pointed out he was wrong. And Comicsgate didn't have the integrity to admit that because they don't have integrity as people and they never will. Genetically, they're incapable of having integrity or even growing any as people. 45, 49, we're almost done finally. 45, 49, Liam again wants to complete. Well, I think he meant compete with the Japanese manga company. I think Jim Tuner's just like banging these out as fast as he can.
Yeah.
He's fucking. So he's not like proofing a comment on Bitshoot is not a high priority.
Yeah, no, it's fucking agony. I don't fucking envy him this task. Yeah, it's the worst job ever. He's not even getting paid. But yeah, he wants to compete with manga companies. I hope he does, because he will just burn out that much harder.
Yeah, they will blow him off the map for all eternity. They would probably
blow him off the map,
hopefully, and make his whole rip. They would make his whole and his mind
just ripped right off the map.
Yes. We're just gonna kill him. Anyways, 4650, Liam talks about his mentoring of his artist Odie. He used to do a page daily.
Well, you can be sure that he didn't mentor anyone.
That was just a bunch of fucking horseshit.
If he's claiming
to what end?
It's almost, you could actually say he's being very honest. When he makes a claim, just assume the opposite.
Yes, it's actually a good way to judge the honesty just by going by the opposite of what Liam Gray says.
Bellwether.
49 minutes, Liam uses a comment from the chat to respin what the entire stream was about again. Tim and Mark are bad because, one, the product is too sexy, which is
he's gay.
Like only gay faggots say. Gay retarded faggots who are also fucking
retarded faggots and also gay.
Plus,
gay and fat.
They gay AF.
Liam gay, Liam a stupid bitch.
Liam gay. But number two, his audience is the alt-right and people they have radicalized to their cause, which there's not only zero evidence of that, but there's evidence of the exact opposite of that.
It's a very bitter and crybaby thing to do. The alt-right. The alt-right audience.
That is something that he got Liam. The only reason why Liam says that is because Ethan Van Sciver said it about not only Tim and Mark, but other people from within Comicsgate or people he didn't want to be in Comicsgate or just people he didn't like. Number three, because the book is mediocre.
The book is mediocre, but people are talking about it more than they're talking about Liam's book.
And people are actually unironically enjoying the content of the book more than anyone has ever enjoyed anything that Liam has made.
Why is that, Liam? What are you doing?
And I mean actual content wise, instead of just like, oh, you're cool, Liam, because you're cool. You're good. Instead of like being able to justify. Again, there's no justification for what they say because what they say is empty. They don't have opinions. They just they repeat.
It's just people who will in the future say that they never trusted Liam to begin with. Mm-hmm. They will deny him 3 times before the cock crows.
Before the cock crows.
Says it in the Bible.
Yeah, at 51:28, this is the penultimate time. At 51:28, Liam talks about comics distribution in Japan and the US. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, just safe to blow that off. We don't even need to address that.
Mm-hmm. And then 52:09, stream ends in progress. There was,
in other words, it was in the middle of the show and it just ended.
Well, apparently it cut off the last few minutes, but again, the last few minutes would have just been some cope and fizzling out. The main meltdown and Liam Gray being objectively incorrect is the stuff that's
that didn't just to me though. That's not on accident. He knew what a hole he had dug for himself. He has at least that much cognition. That's also the specific reason that Liam Gray afterwards went and did like 16 hours of stream to try and do damage control for how much he just embarrassed himself, which is really pathetic.
Anyway. So that that basically wraps up that one. I kind of wish we could get through these faster, but we have so much more to say and to reiterate.
It's important to make sure people understand, because I know people out there don't understand. Some people I know, if they're listening to this, they won't believe it. You won't believe it yourself unless you saw it for yourself.
Though they're not capable of understanding it or believing it or admitting it to themselves because they don't have like that level.
That's not who we're here for. I'm not here for them.
Yeah. Anyways, here's our superior comics that other comic creators admit is great stuff. Again, you're not going by a shill or a fucking hug box.
By all means, go buy his fucking shit ass. I mean, fucking Xenotype's out for free. Xenotype's already been dumped on the internet. Go read it if you really think that he's amazing, and then go read our comic and compare them. And if you really like his comic more, then go give him all your money.
Yeah, feel free. Feel free.
Dump every single last cent of your bank account into his fucking shitty failed Kickstarter for a comic that's still not out.
But yeah, here's the thing is that go ahead and give him your money. You're not going to get a comic because his comics, our comics are out and ready for even.
I would say, you know what? Jordan K.
People love them.
More talent. Jordan K. actually has capability as
Jordan K.
But this is exactly like that situation.
The comedic stylings of asshole retard face.
You can go ahead and follow him. You're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Which that was one thing that Anthony Cumia was definitely correct about. Is that
Anthony Cumia totally on board. He knew what he was talking about when he was talking about Liam.
Anyways, I linked to our
Liam totally ruined. He ruined the Neil Diamond song. He ruined it.
Anyways,
he's got an over-affected voice.
Over-affected tremolo voice.
Over-affected cartoon character voice. He's trying to sound like a fucking cartoon wallaby.
How come he's doing that?
What a fucking jerk off. He's so stupid.
He's so dumb. He's gay.
He's so stupid. He's trying to sound like a cartoon character. Why does he talk like a cartoon character?
For now, basically, we are on YouTube again for now, just for,
because also we quite simply we didn't even care. We're like, we lost our YouTube account, whatever. We're back just because we know it pisses him off and all of his stupid
and a lot of other like weird, like creepy.
They all can't handle it. They can't handle the fact that we're still around.
Yeah. Or that we're allowed to talk. That was the thing. Again, like I said earlier, is that the one thing that drove Liam insane, the one thing that drove, that drove Liam Ethan to attack Liam and kick him out of Comicsgate was us just reviewing Liam's comic. That's what started all of this. We reviewed Liam's comic and he fucking melted down. And the thing is that at first, Ethan was still on Liam's side about that until it was revealed to Ethan, especially behind the scenes, that this could fucking blow up very badly for Ethan and that Ethan could get in trouble. Did you bail out? Oh no. But anyways, so our comics available. Our comics are superior according to actual good creators and all that kind of thing. So unlike Share, whatever, we will still. This is even streaming on DLive right now, and we will.
I accidentally fucking clicked on the link to the fucking other channel because there's like, oh, is the review of his comic up on our channel still?
Oh, well, anyways, we're wrapping up anyway. So we're still on Bitshoot. You can check us out. Check out Kawhi Thomas on Bitshoot. And that's also the DLive account, I think. But DLive's just for streaming. So, it's just in case anyone still needs to follow somewhere. The best way to actually keep up with us is to basically subscribe to our Patreon. So if anything happens, I can make a post about it and you'll be able to see it. You do have to pay, but I mean, you should. People at this point, with all the gift of objective reality that most people have been hiding from, we deserve money for being the only one speaking the truth when no one else would, or being able to speak for others who can't speak for themselves, which is the only people who can claim that is us. Which is nice. And, I do appreciate that other people do stuff to help us out or to thank us in some way or another to do that. Anyways, yeah, so check out our comics, which are objectively better than any other comics you'll read, except maybe for Kamen America. I would definitely recommend that one, as we've reviewed. There's other comics out there that are good, but, you can go fucking find that for yourself, but actually reward merit, not just hype. Anyways, so here I'll wrap up on DLive. I should open the chest on DLive sometime, but maybe we'll do another stream December 1st. I think we'll do a stream, and we'll open the chest on DLive there, I guess, but it'll be on YouTube as well. So wrap this up and see you. And and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.